Should we get this podcast started then, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely, my friend.
For a second,
absolutely.
I thought he dropped out
Me
right when
too.
we were going to start.
There's no way.
Jesus
Sorry, I got a really like important family text in that moment, and I was looking down, sort of like, oh shit. I was like, I need to deal with that at some point.
When he says
yeah.
family, he means his new family, i.e. your mum that he's been texting.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
appreciate it.
Well, I haven't not been texting Sheps' mum. Let's just say that.
Let's just say that.
You know
Let's
what?
just say that.
Yeah. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad I said the real
Do
phone
I have-
number.
I'm gonna
Do
bring
I
her
have-
to the next meetup. I'm gonna introduce her to Tyler and explain
This
why her
is
number's in
Tyler.
his phone. And
Yeah,
then
but
then-
I disappear.
Yeah. But think about, won't she be like, she'll see me, Australian accent, the strong jawline, thick
Alright, yeah.
neck, positive attitude,
Are you
2-inch
gonna
penis.
describe yourself?
What, don't you
Tyler?
think? Don't you think she would be thanking Eddie?
She'd be like, Eddie, I knew there was great things going to be in my future
Right.
after meeting
Yeah.
you. I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
introducing
Yeah.
me to this
Yeah.
this man who looks like a thumb in your profile picture.
Yeah. Maybe you can fix my son. He's broken. Things like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for you, it might be a match made in
Yeah.
heaven because she's actually a psychologist.
There we go.
So,
She will fix you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Your deep emotional
Well, I'm
problems.
broken. I'm broken. So
That's right.
if we
And
could.
women love a project, innit? So
They do.
Yeah, they do. Sheps referring to his mother as women is just something else. Is just something else to me. I tried to move on from it, but I haven't.
Okay, let's do this. Let's do this, boys.
Oh,
Let's
I
do this.
fucking love you, boys. Jesus Christ.
It's always a fucking riot when we're together.
I'm never serious. I'm the most silly when I'm with you two. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Just imagine what it's going to be like when you get here, mate. When you get here, it's gonna
Oh,
be fucking
dude.
mad.
it's gonna be good.
It's going to be ridiculous. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait.
All right. Okay, I'm going to start now,
let's
guys.
do it.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
You're leaving that in, though. Pre-show
Oh, yeah.
dribble.
of course.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and then the intro's hitting, and then what we're going into now.
And then now.
Yeah.
I'm just directing
Inclu-
the show here.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
directing
yeah.
the show here, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intro, take what? Go.
And,
Wait, Tyler. What's my motivation?
what's my motivation for this?
Yeah. Okay. So,
How's my character feeling?
You want to make sure everything that you do leading into this, like, and in the show, makes your guest Tyler look the best.
Right,
That's
so
what.
set the
So
bar
yeah.
really low.
If you could
incredibly
please.
low.
If you
Like
could
my
please.
72
Thank you so
year
much.
old
Tyler
mum.
look the best. Are you even that talented? I mean, you're pretty talented, but can anyone do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Monumental
Yeah.
task. All right, let's do this. Let's do this, boys. What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to Streamcast, a show on the internet. Watch the latest and greatest stuff on streaming services with you guys. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm over the illness that nearly made me fall asleep in the last episode.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, Eddie's not looking great. Eddie's looking, woo boy." Okay, so I'm okay.
You faked falling asleep as a bit, like because I was saying something that you're trying to say it was boring, and nearly didn't wake up.
All I had to do was close my eyes, and I was like, "Aha, I'm gonna do a fake thing."
Yeah.
Wow, this feels really good. I could fall asleep right now. Anyway, we are here today to discuss the final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Disney Plus show. Here today, as we did on episode 1, we have Upside Down Man, Kangaroo Jack himself, Tyler. Thank you very much for joining us, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, you know, we have to do some charity work every now and again,
Yeah.
and
for you
this
it's
is a-
court
Yeah.
ordered, but for me it's just because I like to help.
oh, there you go.
That's
Yeah,
the less
exactly.
fortunate,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
how-
well,
how
I
you-
wouldn't call it court order. I'd call it blackmail, but that's okay.
I mean, you know.
That's
Well,
just
I
got-
think actually it's extortion, but I'm
He's
not.
got something on
Yes.
us. He's got something on us.
Yeah.
How you
Oh,
doing,
yeah.
Tyler? How's things going?
I was gonna make it. No, I'm not gonna make it. Another
Oh.
Sheps mum joke. I won't do it. I won't do it. Sorry. What was the question?
I was
How are
asking, How are
you?
you doing? Very difficult.
Oh
one.
yeah, mate. Tough questions. I'm good. I'm very good. I'm excited to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really am. So
Good.
Let's
just
get
before
into
we go, just before we talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, I wanted to talk about one thing that I found out yesterday.
Okay.
I thought would be good for all of us. We're all Top Gun Maverick fans here, right?
Yeah.
That movie was fantastic.
In fact,
it was
the last
amazing.
time Tyler was
my
on, he
God.
bigged up Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
I went to see and actually have a bone to pick with you, Tyler, because you undersold it.
You undersold
Because
I was telling you it was the greatest action movie of all time.
the action lived up to exactly what you said. What you didn't say was that every other story beat, all the relationships, everything was so perfectly done that it isn't just like the best action movie of all time. It might be one of the best movies of all time.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Top Gun Maverick is one of the greatest movies of all time. I think.
I very rarely get choked up by this sort of stuff, but at the end where he and Rooster are talking, and it's like what my dad would have wanted, I was like, don't cry in front of your girlfriend.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it was the true man cry movie.
Yeah,
all time. I'd say number one. If you're talking about man tears, this is numero uno.
It was exceptional.
This and Forrest Gump. This and Forrest Gump.
The thing I wanted
when
to bring up,
the scene where Forrest meets his son, and then he's like asking if he's smart. Like, dude, are you kidding me, bro? Every man cries.
Yeah.
Every man, every person, every human being cries. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
The thing I wanted to bring up was I found out something yesterday. So I don't know if you guys are like this. Whenever I see a movie that's like really cool shots in it, I like to imagine how they do things. And I was trying to think to myself this entire time, like, how did they do the shots of them in the jet fighters? Like, all the lighting seems to match. They're like moving correctly, and I'm like, this must have been a monumental task to do, even in like a soundstage somewhere. And then it doesn't look like the background CG as
you
well.
Didn't know,
like
bro.
that.
You didn't know, bro.
I didn't know. It's fucking real. I didn't know they put them in fucking planes. They set the cameras to record, told them to fuck off for an hour and do their thing, and then come back. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Insane!
The Mustang at the end, the World War II fighter, that's Tom Cruise's actual thing, and that's him flying at the end.
Fucking hell. No wonder it looks so good and so real. I was like, whoa.
Outrageous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How amazing
in the original, they only fired real missiles twice.
Okay.
And a lot of the stuff was done with like miniatures and fireworks, but most of the really important shots were only those two shots, and they had to reuse them a bunch. So they had like 46 different angles.
Oh,
and
shit.
it was so good that the Navy investigated the movie and did this big investigation because they thought they'd used more than two missiles, and they were really
tight. They'd been firing off everywhere. Like
right.
Wow.
Yeah, those it's great.
I have heard that. That's an incredible story.
I was convinced because I was like, we're living in a day and age of CG.
It's got to be CG.
I was like, it's so complex, it's so big, it's so big. I was like, it has to be CG.
You don't know Tom Cruise.
No.
But you don't know Tom Cruise. You don't know what a crazy man he is.
He is crazy.
Watching his face pull those 10 Gs when he does that first thing, like, that's not CG.
But then I was thinking, I was just like, there's these times where like he's chucking himself into the seat and it's turning, and then the light matches perfect. I'm like, this must have been a monumental task. It's almost like it's not CG. But then
it was a monumental task.
I was like, that's such a stupid thing to insinuate that something so big was not CG. And then I'm like, what? Crazy stuff. Crazy. Anyway, fantastic.
It's a great movie.
Dude,
Anyway, Star Wars.
Can I just should know? I'm sorry, I have to add just to the end of that because of what a fucking animal and how much of a badass Tom Cruise is that he did that, and all the crew had to do it. And they're like throwing up after every day because they had to be in real jet fighters and do that shit every day.
Like Navy training.
So to the point that Miles Teller, that's like a boot camp and everything. Miles Teller was getting sick and had to get blood work done from filming every day. They found jet fuel in his blood. So Miles Teller goes to Tom Cruise, or Tom goes, oh, hey kid, how'd you go? And Miles Teller goes, oh, turns out I have jet fuel in my blood. And Tom Cruise goes, I was born with it. And I'm like, that's a real action movie end. And that's like I feel the need for speed. That's how iconic that shit is. And it was a real life thing that Tom Cruise said. He is Maverick.
He's an actual
he's an incredible.
He's an actual movie star. Again, I don't think I could hang out with the guy for very long, but cool dude.
Bring up Scientology.
Right.
I definitely could.
Right. But
I'm thinking about joining, to be honest with you.
Can I be like Tom Cruise? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was absolutely unbelievable that it's all done like that. Fantastic.
That was
crazy shit.
I was
I just want to watch it again. I just want to watch it again.
Yeah, I want to go see it.
I looked, I was like, when's the Blu-ray coming out so I can buy it? And it's like August. I'm like, that's too long.
Right.
That's too long. God damn it.
Tom likes to make sure the cinematic release. He's like, this is traditional, baby. You're gonna wait 6 months for the DVD.
Right.
Like this is He's an animal.
Anyway, let's kick it off before we get talking about Obi-Wan with our super bros who support us over at patreon.com/conversations. Our great people who support us over there. Thank you so much. Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Sabine from Smallville, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sundling, Catsper the Friendly Patron, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Super Sus Ben Fryer, the Filthy Thief Fanatic, Joe McCormack, Clark, the 53rd, My Juicy Left Nut, the super sexy producer Sean, the fakest Bat fan, the Batfish, and Mikey T, the gamer giant, and Kevin, the #1 simp.
I'm not letting it go.
No, come on!
I'm not. I refuse. I'm the only adult here.
5 minutes.
I was
10
never
minutes.
gonna cave. Man, I would have just gotten up and left. I would have just walked away. You never would have known. I was like, I want to get another can of Coke. Like, you know?
Just gone.
I need a Diet Coke.
Yeah, I refuse to.
I had both middle fingers up the whole time too, and when I realised you guys were playing chicken with me, I was like, you know what? Do you know how committed I am? I'm like, I'm going to keep my hands up also the whole time.
Yeah.
I will not fucking
Blood rushing away from them.
Yeah, like, I was getting mad. I was like, I felt like you were challenging my manhood.
He's getting mad.
That shit doesn't stand with me.
Tyler getting mad
that's
as
what
usual.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for your support over there. We love you so much. Quick little announcement. Next week there will be no episode of Streamcast, but what we're going to be doing the week after, we're going to come back.
I was thinking that.
And we're gonna be doing the first half of The Boys season 3. You can all shut the fuck up about it now, okay? Episodes 1 to 4 are gonna be done on the week after. So 1 week break, come back. Episodes 1 to 4 of The Boys season 3. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Now you can shut up.
I've got a fucking bone to pick with you two.
Go
I've
ahead.
got a bone to pick with you two.
Go ahead.
Now that you brought up The Boys, I have now watched The Boys.
Oh, you
I
have?
finally watched it.
Oh, good.
I finally watched it. Well, I'm at the end of season 2.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. You're up to date with us.
And yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you. I really like the show.
I think
it's a great show. Now, 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10. It's not that good.
I feel like great is probably close to 7.5, maybe to an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, right. What's your reason?
Well, there's a few. My main one is the fact that, and again, like, it bothered me the more it went on. Like, the more the show's gone on, the more the things it was. So Homelander is a piece of shit. Obviously. I don't like him. I don't like him in the way you're supposed to not like the guy, right? Because he's supposed to be hated. Right. But also, you have those crazy fans. It's like, yeah, but he's really well acted, like a Loki or a Joker and stuff. So people are like, he's actually should be the main character. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Like, I think the actor is amazing, and he's playing him perfectly. Yeah, he's amazing character. He's so well written. Love it. Amazing. It's now like half. It feels like he's getting more and more screen time. It's becoming so much more about him. And so much less about Huey, who I think is the best character of the show.
Huey's the bridge. Yeah, for sure.
He's the bridge. And I'm like, he's the main character. He's the #1 character. He's the best character of the show. And he's getting less and less screen time, and they're giving more to the character I don't like. So I'm like, half the time I'm watching, I'm like, I don't like who's on screen. Like, and I'm not getting that satisfaction of the good guys getting a win or you challenging the good guys in a really bad way. It's just sort of like, you've got your own fucking story happening and they have their own fucking story happening at the same time. I'm like, you were enemies. You're the counterpoints.
Huey's character pacing is a bit odd because he goes through this huge growth in season 1, then in season 2 he's back to where he was in the first one and being idealistic.
Yeah.
And come back. So that's a big problem with Huey. But I agree with you. He's really got to be the focus because unless we look at it through the lens of Huey, it's just another superhero show. Except they're kind of super villains.
I can't relate to it. I can't relate to Homelander at all. Like, and they try to humanize him at points. I'm like, no. But you're like. But then every episode's the same thing. Yeah. You think he's going to become good or something, and then he fucking kills it. Yeah. And I'm like, we've seen this story arc episode again and again, but it's like they're trying to create different scenarios, and it's starting to feel like a fucking sitcom like show rather than like where an ongoing arc that's constantly moving. It's like, oh no, you can watch any episode in any order. It doesn't really matter because, well, guess what Homelander's doing this episode? Crazy. I kind
of feel you. But I think the big thing is the overarching, like,
a creation of heroes.
Right, it's like the V and the Nazi...
I just feel like season 2 has a big
corporation that's going to be covering, that's controlling everything in the shadows.
I guess season 2 just had... I haven't fucked with it as much as season 1. I really like season 1.
Season 1 fucked hard, and season 2 is a bit all over the place.
It got better.
Do they find...
Oh, well, exactly. That's a really good point.
Season 3...
Much better.
It's a very good point. They did a hot Nazi chick, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's... I mean, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, people are saying season
from a certain
3
point
is fantastic, so we'll see how that turns out in 2 weeks' time.
I'm excited to see it. So we'll tune in next week, in 2 weeks, bruv. And
exactly. Tune in and you'll find out.
All right, sorry to totally derail the show again.
It's all right. It's all right. We expect it from you.
I just remember when I met you guys, like, you brought up The Boys season 1 as the best show of all time.
Tell me season 1 didn't blow you away.
It was really good. I will admit it's an 8.5 out of 10. I think season 2's brought it down to a 7.
Objection, hearsay. I did not say it was the best TV show of all time.
No, it was Sheps. To be fair, no,
it was Sheps.
You did say you know. You said I remember this. I never fucking forgot this. You were in front of my eyes in person and said to me, "The Boys is one of the best shows on television."
Facts. Right, I remember that
on television.
But like
right now, you've got to
that's
watch
a big
ever
thing.
Ever.
Game of Thrones hadn't finished yet, had it? Like I don't even like.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it hadn't finished yet.
Oh yeah, I don't think it had. So that was maybe, in fairness to me as well, I'm comparing it to like the disappointment of season 8 or season 7 or whatever it was, and then you have this coming along.
It's tough.
So it would have
Jon
looked
Snow's
better
gets show.
Classes. But
Jon Snow,
season
Kit
1 fucks
Harington's
hard. It's a great.
Jon Snow's a little bitch.
Jon Snow is a little bitch. The whole show is full of bitches.
Kid Harrington as well.
Bitches and sister fuckers.
So. And I love Kid Harington.
Okay, so Kenobi.
Yeah, we're only 20 minutes in.
The finale.
And we haven't been talking for 40 minutes before that, so it's fine.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Guys, the final episode. Let's dig into this. We open up this episode on Tatooine with an injured Reva hobbling around and looking for Owen. She's in a line, I guess, at a
water merchant
or something, something like that, yeah, and knocks some water out some guy's hand and is looking for Owen. We cut to Vader. Vader's on the ship and he's chasing Obi-Wan and the refugees in their ship that was escaping from the last episode.
Yeah, they're never going to make it, right? The hyperdrive shot and...
Yeah, in the last episode, they're like, the hyperdrive is down. It's never going to... You can't work it. But however, the Rook guy, the leader guy, comes out and he's like, the hyperdrive is almost ready, everyone. It's almost ready. No, it's not. It's really not almost ready. Obi-Wan kind of sees and realizes that this is like all bad, and he sees some people that need him, and he sees Leia there, so he's like, instead I'm gonna do something about it.
Okay, here's my first problem with this episode.
Go ahead.
He's like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
right.
That's his
Vader
plan.
only wants me.
Vader only wants me. If I leave, he'll follow me, and you guys have the chance to escape. That's the plan.
And everybody goes, no. What happened to being in this together? As if any one of these guys is gonna be like, no, don't go. Let's all die together. We got into this together, right?
Yeah, the rest of the people immediately jump up as if they're like lifelong friends. We have a big relationship together, and they're all like, no, we do this together.
And
I mean, he just saved their lives.
If it was the people, if it was the leader, maybe he's the leader of like the whole rebellion type, the new rebellion style.
We met an episode ago, and he was anti Kenobi the whole time for like 5 minutes until the plot required him to agree.
At least he's a good guy, and he's got a good idea of what the plan is should be going forward. These other people are just refugees. They're just people who've been kicked out of their homes. I didn't understand that at all.
It's very bizarre. That's sort of my big it's threads like that that just stick out as like unfinished.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll wrap this bit up right here so we can come back to the actual good stuff later. Obi-Wan gets on a ship and he like breaks off from that refugee ship, which draws the attention away from them. Vader and everyone else that's on board, they're like, everyone else is just, the Grand Inquisitor is like, we should not go after one soul Jedi. We must go over, take out the path, because what they lead to, we could stop right now and cut this off while we're still ahead. And Vader's just like, nope, nothing is more important than Kenobi. Turn the ship over there. Yes, Lord Vader, and that's where they go.
I mean, the Grand Inquisitor's pretty brave.
He was brave. He just straight up disobeyed him to his face. He was like, no, we should go this way. It's like, did you just say no to me? If I was Vader, I'd be like, excuse me? Are you under the impression... I killed the last Grand Inquisitor. You know that, right?
In front of you.
To be fair, it was a plan
after she murdered you.
Yeah, after. The fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway. So they go after Obi-Wan. We do cut back every now and again to Tatooine, and
How
Owen
do you boys
finds
feel
out
about just wrapping up the Tatooine stuff up until sort of the...
Yeah, because it does... Yeah, we'll do that. Let's do that. Okay, so we'll do all the Tatooine stuff here. We cut to Tatooine. Owen finds out that Reva's after Luke.
Yeah.
Is there to find him. They head back to the house. Tells Aunt Beru I call her because it's much easier to remember. Aunt Beru, and... saying like, oh, we have to leave the house. We have to go. We have to take the boy somewhere safe. Yeah. Aunt Peru, however...
They're moisture farmers on Tatooine. They're not going nowhere.
Badass herself, goes into a little cubby hole, like a hole in the wall, pulls out a secret gat, and is like, no, we're defending it. Chucks it at Owen. Owen's almost gobsmacked. It's like, where was this badass bitch when we renewed our vows last year? Like, what's going on, man? I'd have been turned on by this shit. Anyway... They get themselves ready. They set up camp, and as night falls, Reva comes along.
Yeah,
she comes along. She pulls out her lightsaber, like beautiful, like red light in the dark.
It's really well shot, and
really
then
well
like
shot.
Sort of moving around in the shelves, whatever you would call that.
Exactly. And they try to take a pop at her while she's not looking. Completely miss. Then it becomes a whole firefight. It's a bit of a one-sided fight, except Reva's kind of injured, so she's not full force at that point.
Yeah, it's very...
Well, she got stabbed! She got straight up fucking stabbed by Vader, and now she's just walking around.
We said in the last episode that when you get stabbed in the chest, if it stays there long enough, it actually cauterizes the wound, so it's actually nothing anymore.
Yeah, it's fine.
It doesn't matter.
She just got a
So is that
piercing.
why Qui-Gon died and...
He was stabbed in the chest, and she was stabbed like in the stomach.
And Qui-Gon's a little bitch. That's
it's true.
That. Whereas Reva is totally much better.
Okay.
The other thing...
I mean, she lived twice. Imagine being stabbed by Vader twice.
Right.
And you don't die. And you were 8 one time. Like,
she's hardcore.
How did she survive when she was 8? We still don't have the answer.
Double belly piercings.
Imagine like, the second stabbing went straight through
the
same hole. It's the same hole, so it was already got
damn Vader.
It's like she takes her shirt off and she's got just a hole in her.
Yeah.
Like she's some sort of alien. So every time Vader actually stabbed her, it never hit her.
Right.
She's just this weird Star Wars alien that you just have like a hole in the middle, like instead of a stomach. And every time Vader just stabbed that. That's why. And then she just faked it.
Crazy, isn't it?
That's wild.
But that's my theory. That's my Star Wars theory.
Well, I mean, it's good enough. We haven't seen anything to prove you wrong.
Exactly.
So theory confirmed as far as I'm concerned. I will say that with this injury and like the way she's walking, it feels like they're kind of trying to imitate Kylo Ren a bit.
Oh, yeah?
And I just feel like... Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way she's lit her lightsaber a few times that same way, and they're trying to make her like the petulant tantrum throwing thing, and she takes basically the similar kind of injury. I get it, but like Kylo was so good, so impeccably good. It's not that Reva's... I mean, I think Reva's been done kind of dirty here for the most part, but I probably wouldn't have made that comparison, or I would have tried to make it a different kind of injury or something.
Okay.
Personally, it's just me. Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know if anybody else caught that.
I personally didn't. But I can see how you could see that from like you said, when you said the way she like light her lightsaber. I was like, I could see that. But she was quite like petulant child all the way up to it as well. So I think they're trying to make that a Sith thing, like a young Sith thing.
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
I just think. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just think that this part of the story was like
clunky at best.
Why is it like?
It didn't need
if
to
you
be.
would have showed me the concept of this character arc on paper before of like what happens, right? I'd be like, that's a great idea for a character arc. But then in execution, fumbled it. Absolutely fucking fumbled
this
it.
last
And it
bit
just felt
didn't
like
need to happen.
it was getting in the way. It was getting in the way of the show. I'm like, the actual show's happening over here, and why am I having to watch this part?
Right. As far as this whole Luke and Reva thing, this feels like shoe leather. So you know in like movies when people finish talking on the phone, they just hang up?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not how real life works. Well, saying goodbye and hanging up on the phone doesn't add anything to the scene, so they don't do it. It's called shoe leather. It's unnecessary. And this is a whole subplot of shoe leather. We didn't need any of this. We could have... It should have been spent on Kenobi. Crazy that maybe we spend that time with the titular character.
Maybe, possibly. I do think that this last bit was pointless because it didn't change anything. It
changes nothing.
She didn't need to find that hologram in the random way that she did.
Yeah.
And
then all of this to a resolution of like she has a PTSD flashback.
Yeah.
And then comes back and speaks to Kenobi and he says, "You're free of him. So am I." And then, okay, cool. Like we've got a Reva spin-off. Like we could have done that in a much better way. She could have just got up from the cave and limped out.
Yeah, that
would have been a better, where she was left.
And then her show's about the redemption rather than the fucking
exactly.
Rather than doing it, tailing it in the end. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. And then if you had just left her alone and not in the finale, I'm like, you didn't need. You're right. You didn't need it at all. It didn't add anything. To the show. Or more importantly, and this is why like other people might think we think the whole show is shit or whatever, or they might think the whole show is shit. But a big part of what I look at of whether anything from Star Wars is good because it's a fucking saga. It's a universe. It's so much bigger than just it's the sum of its parts. It's a lot bigger than one project and one movie. So one of these shows or movies doesn't just have to be good. They also have to strengthen what's around it. Does it make the universe better or worse? And this didn't make it better, so it didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this show has been sort of like the early stuff with Leia was exactly what we needed. You know,
it's what we didn't know we needed.
Right, exactly. But it's exactly what you're talking about. It made the rest of the show, the rest of the universe, stronger and better.
It makes the saga better. Watch Kylo Ren is Ben Solo. His name Ben makes even more sense.
Right.
That's a big deal for Leia's character, and like it adds to A New Hope, strengthens that. That's how I look at that.
And when she Ben Kenobi's the guy that arrested her. Ben Kenobi, and then they ruined that by then letting her know that he was also called Obi-Wan Kenobi, which now doesn't make any sense. Which was annoying.
Well, no, this is how the only way I look at it is how they made it make sense is she acts like she doesn't know him because at the end of that conversation he did say, "But no one must know. It could put us both in danger."
Maybe
that's how I tried to play it off.
I think you have to really work hard to do
it's a reach. It's a reach. It's a reach. But I'm reaching. I'm reaching.
Yeah, because I wanted to work, and the actress for Leia was so good. Her scenes were so good. Anybody that doesn't agree just doesn't care about the universe because she was brilliant. And all of their interactions. Do you know what I'm going to say it? Their interaction at the end was actually the highlight for me, and I'm a Vader simp, and I loved that.
Wow.
The bit at the end where he says, "You're wise and kind, and that's from your mother, but you're also fearless and passionate, and these are gifts from your father." I got chills. I just got them again.
I know. I guess half of me really liked it, and half of me's with you. The other half of me was like, it was a bit too much. I felt like it was better when it was just like, you knew my mother. Like, she knows, but she never knows more than that.
I just loved it.
But I know what you're saying. Half of me agrees with you.
And then when he stood there looking, and the next time we see him in that pose is where Vader kills him. He is in that same position, side on, looking at us. Yeah. It's exactly like when he lets Vader win, right? Episode
4.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I saw a lot of parallels there, and I really enjoyed the Kenobi Vader stuff. But I just sang about that, like we knew Kenobi and Vader did that. Like, I knew it happened. I just got to see it finally. But this, I never knew happened. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I choose to believe she never knows his name, Organa. I'm deleting the Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff from my memory. She calls him Ben.
I watched A New Hope right after. Yeah.
Did you?
I watched A New Hope immediately after. Nice. I watched it last night with my brother and with Jared, 3 of us. Cool. We then watched A New Hope immediately after.
Sick.
There we go. And we all thought, I just want to say, we all thought this episode was the best shit we've ever seen. Like, we enjoyed it so much. We had such a great, obviously, like, the things that we enjoyed, we just enjoyed 10 out of 10. Yeah. Like, we had a great time watching this. We were looking at each other like jaw-dropping moments. Like, I said out loud at one point, is this really happening? Are we really seeing this happening? That's how good it was. But then, of course, the Reaver stuff, I just sort of, I'm like, still, literally I was in a euphoria of enjoyment to the other shit. I wasn't even paying attention. When Reaver's on screen, I was like, cool, I have a breather. I was like, God, I can breathe again. Because I hadn't breathed. Jared's heart, he has one of the watches on, his heart rate went up 20 BPM during the scene. During the scene. Like, it was incredible.
That was cool. That is cool.
Let me cut in with some things that I forgot to mention just before Obi-Wan leaves the ship. He does sit down for a moment to try and contact Qui-Gon. It's like, I need to go, Master. It's either either he dies or I die. And he's waiting for an answer, but then he gets interrupted by one of the other guys there. He does have one last moment with Leia before she goes off because she was pissed before.
Yeah. Gives her officer lady's holster. Gives her
a holster, and it's like, it's empty. Well, you're 10 years old. I wasn't going to give you a blaster. No, right. It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute right there. And then he gets on his ship and he distracts Vader.
In typical Star Wars fashion, there's nowhere to run to, but he just turns left. No, look, a planet.
A little bit to the left. Done.
Well, I think The Force Awakens establishes that planets are really fucking close together. Like, when, you know what I mean? That's one thing I learned about Star Wars. They're not that far. No. It's like a star system in No Man's Sky. They're just sort of there.
Even with a broken hyperdrive, it's like, you can get within 10 minutes. It's nothing. It's nothing.
It's just extra 10.
Yeah. So they land on the planet. First of all, it's just Obi-Wan, and he's preparing himself for what's about to happen. He's got the Lola droid, the obvious toy advertisement that they've got. They put that puts it on the side.
Why he still has that?
For no reason. Again, we just need to make it look cute.
Because they have to have it in the big crescendo scene.
Buy this thing.
Right.
Puts it to the side, and he goes out. Vader gets on his ship, and he also lands on.
He tells them that I'm going to face Kenobi alone.
Yes.
Which.
When he said that, I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's coming.
I'm so aroused at this.
It's coming, and so am I.
Yeah.
Vader lands on the planet, and he goes down. It's like, so you've come to destroy me, Obi-Wan. Vader says. And it's like, I will do what I must. And he pulls his lightsaber.
Dude, Revenge of the Sith line.
I know.
When he drops that, I was like, oh shit. Dude. Does the stance and say, I'll do what I must. Exactly what he said in Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. 100%. That's what he says before they fight again.
And then he just says,
you will die.
Then you will die. And then the music roars and they start battling it out.
Oh, boys, someone did a rescore already, and it's like not just like a fan rescore where they throw the music like over the top. No, they've score timed it. So when every beat moment happens in the scene, the right music hits the right beats. Ooh. And they do all the and it's Battle of Heroes within.
I was going to say Battle of Heroes.
It's a 9-minute HD cut of all the scenes of just the battle. And I've got it in my favorites, and the finale conversation. And they don't just use Battle of Heroes; they use a bunch of other things and time it perfectly with every beat moment. It's fucking phenomenal.
Now,
it's phenomenal.
I need to see that. Still in Discord chat.
While they're fighting, they do some really cool stuff. At one point, Obi-Wan pulls down like a stone column of like naturally occurring stone column. Vader stops it, and he says, "Your strength has returned, but your weakness remains." And the way he pushes that stone thing across the planet, it looks like the way he forces it away from him, just to show how much stronger Vader is.
I know, look, it's space wizards, right? So how power works and their power levels and all that stuff is just arbitrary. I get it. But Vader feels like at weird points he's much more powerful than Kenobi, and then at random points that he's got no juice left.
Yeah.
It's a bit odd, and as much as I absolutely loved this scene, I did feel that it was could have been less clunky.
Less clunky, huh?
It just mainly it's because Kenobi should have been building up to this the whole show, and he spent the first 5 episodes doing this. You know, he like has a peak in a valley between there, and then just jumps straight back to General Kenobi strength. I feel like he never really.
Well, I feel like but I feel like the first half of the fight was him, like. He was good, but he wasn't full strength. Full strength was like when he reached deep within himself and found his strength, which was Luke and Leia.
That's fair.
And that's the
like
rebirth moment, like out of the rocks, and he's like,
yeah.
and that and that he can fucking pull those rocks up and does a ray, which is like, so anyone that says that's like a crazy power Kenobi's never been able to do. I'm like, if Ray can fucking do it, Obi-Wan Kenobi can do it. Yeah,
if Ray Palpatine can do it, then anyone can do it. Okay,
no, Ray Skywalker,
Ray Star Wars.
Sorry, Ray Star Wars. That's what it is.
Yeah, I have no problem with I have no problem with Kenobi being able to do that at all. That's not ridiculous to me, right? Like, we know that Jedi can levitate stuff. There's no set rules for that. We don't know that you have to be looking at stuff, right? Like, cool. I don't have any problem with that.
I felt him coming back was in the last episode where like he had to like defend all the refugees and whatnot, like where he pushed back Reva finally, and then he saw Talia sacrifice herself. I felt like that was the moment where he was like, I'm coming back. Maybe not full force, but then he finally mustered the courage and this last little thing here. But yeah. Hey, however you want to see it, man. However you want to see it. If you want to see it the shit way, that you see everything.
I didn't say it was shit. I said...
Let me guess. You saw Leia earlier. You were still pissed that there was a woman in the show.
Oh, right,
I definitely think if there's a skill I have with Star Wars specifically, and not really any other show or media with movies and TV shows, I have a way of like rationalizing it more than anything I've ever been a fan of. I always have a way in Star Wars to like, because it's just got that much flexibility to its lore that like with the Force and with characters and how many other times there's leaps in logic you can sort of like do it with this. I'm like, if I can believe that, I can believe this type thing.
In Star Wars, the canon is that the plot is about Swiss cheese. It's just nothing but plot holes, and you make it work because it's incredible. So deal with it, and like I'm all about that.
And the characters are
right, exactly.
And then the cool thing happens after he says your strength has returned, but that'll be your weakness. He goes, and that is why you will always lose. Vader drops his hands down on the. Sorry,
there's another cool thing before that.
Go on.
While they're fighting, Vader pulls a rock and takes out his feet.
Oh yeah, he does. He makes him drop.
That was the leg sweep. The leg sweep was sick. I do want to point out the performance of. We'll get into Hayden's performance, but James Earl Jones as Darth Vader in this,
fantastic.
The way he said, "Your strength has returned." It was like he got pleasure out of it. He was like excited. It sounded like he was so pleased that now this time, and because this is what I told myself, the reason he spared Obi-Wan the first time or didn't go full hard was because he was so disappointed.
Yeah.
He'd imagined this in his head for so long because the best of him fought the best of Obi-Wan. He's like, no, I'm better than him now. I want to beat the best Obi-Wan. To know that he can't beat me, and that was a fucking fluke the first time. And now that he's full strength, he's like, fuck yeah. But then he goes, but the weakness, and the weakness for him is the compassion, the Jedi way, all that remains. And that's how he thinks he can beat him. You don't know the power of the dark side.
So look, you mentioned it, and it is jumping ahead a bit, but James Earl Jones, yes, utterly incredible. The fact that he and Hayden voiced the same lines in the finale bit, and how well that meshes.
Oh, hold on to that. Let's get to.
We can't talk about that yet.
Don't talk about it. But hold on to it.
Okay.
I promise.
I feel like this. I could talk for an hour about that scene.
I'm so excited. I feel like it's my first time with it. Like I'm there. I gotta go.
Can I ask you both, in regards to where we are in the episode right now? Can I ask you both the question?
Yeah.
The moment when they're facing off and then the swinging starts.
Yeah.
Dude, my heart rate was elevated significantly. Like this was a moment that we've been waiting for as a like. We've been talking about this for a lot of years, the Obi-Wan show, and what it could be, and when they had Darth Vader. Like, Sheps, you and I are Vader Sims, and we've talked about this on podcast for years about this moment happening. And I never thought this was going to be better than the Mustafar battle, because that's iconic. It's had years to sink in and have legacy. There was no expectation in my head. I'm like, this better be better than that. It's like, no, I just want it to be in its own way epic.
Yeah,
I think this did something.
It was.
I'm glad they didn't try and like one up or compare to the Mustafar fight. They just fought. And it works so well because it's like almost old man Kenobi, but coming back to like regain his place as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Master Kenobi, versus Vader, and with all of his baggage that he has now.
And I think leading into this, I sort of thought that the Battle of Heroes, I always imagined this has to play when they fight because it's the fight. Yeah. And I'm like, no, because then you compare it to the Mustafar fight. Yeah. But it still had to have its own music. And I thought the music in this show has been super disappointing, especially not using old motifs. Super shit. They did it in this episode a lot, which was fantastic. Love that. But with this fight, it had its own music. And I'll be honest, the best original piece of music in the series. It was in its own way iconic, and I think in years to come it'll be one that I'll listen to fondly.
Yeah, I agree, because again, like, this is also the first time this isn't, and Anakin says it later, this isn't Obi-Wan versus Anakin, this is Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader, and this is the first time they've ever fought.
This is what I liked about this fight, is that we had Darth Vader for the first time in his fucking peak Vader way, fighting against a formidable adversary. And that's what I liked about this one. Like, in my mind, I didn't compare it to Battle of Heroes. I didn't compare it to Revenge of the Sith because that is something different. This is Vader.
Well, that's why it always was a compelling rematch we wanted to see, right? Yeah. That's why it was like, they can get away with doing this because there's no way it can be the same.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like two different characters, but it's the same character. You've got the elevation of like the first fight, like a 10 out of 10 boxing world championship classic, but then somehow this second fight's different because, and then insert storyline here. Like, this is different. The
only comparison we've ever had is for Vader is in the original trilogy. And while the original trilogy is great and I love them and they hold a special place in my heart, the combat in that isn't nothing that we have today. And what we have, especially from all the stories that we've heard of Vader in all of the additional material and extended universe and things like that. And like that comic book strip that you've shown and whatnot, it's like, I don't believe that the Vader that we see in the movie, the thing, is like that, as evil as that. But then when you see this, you're like, oh my god, this is totally it. This is totally that unbelievable force.
Yeah, in Empire, Vader only fights Luke, who, while obviously it's Luke Skywalker, he's had all of a week's training on Dagobah, right? So we don't ever really see Vader push to his limits. And we get to see him face off. And look, arguably you could say, and I think it's probably fair, that Vader should be more powerful here, right? Let's say if he was still Anakin in his body, he probably claps Kenobi here, no problems. But he's not. He has these incredibly devastating injuries. But also, like, if Reva can't even kill a child, right? We've established that Vader has no problems doing that. Like, this is the guy. Like, so he's still dealing with like PTSD, and he wants to be a cat and a mouse, but doesn't realize that's not a mouse, that's another cat. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is so the reason that it's not so like Vader so omnipotent is because there's all this stuff going on, and then at the very end Palpatine brings it up. You know, it's like you still have feelings for him, whether good or bad, but like there's all this stuff getting in the way of just the slaughter machine that you are right now. Because if it was anybody else, he's going to wreck him. He's just going to take him to town. But it's not anybody else. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, his brother, father, son, mentor, best friend, everything, you know?
He had a lot of emotions, and partly probably why he fought badly as well. Vader fought particularly badly because he did get caught up in his emotions, and that's part of his character arc here as well.
Exactly. And obviously the power is different, but when it's Reva and there's no emotions there, it's so one-sided.
Very
it
one-sided.
Is that cat and mouse thing, and he's so used to that. And then when it comes to Kenobi, the dynamic's different.
Back to back to the episode, Vader does, he says, and that's why you'll lose, and he drops his hand to the ground and just uses the Force to crack it wide open, drop Kenobi into the floor, and then drops all of the surrounding rocks onto him, essentially putting him in a tomb.
Yeah, burying him alive,
And Vader's just like, that's it. I've won. Get out of here. He starts walking away, and Obi-Wan, you see later on, the camera goes down there underneath all the rocks. Obi-Wan's down there holding it up using the Force.
Yeah,
barely, just sort of like coming in. And in that moment, he has like flashes of Leia, flashes of Luke, imagining in that time, thinking of what's going to happen if he does let this go and he does fail. And he just summons all of the power that he's got and pushes all those rocks out, blasts out of there.
Another key thing, so this is sort of the difference between Vader and Kenobi.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan isn't thinking, I have to kill Vader. Yeah. He's thinking about all the people he needs to protect. And that's where the power comes from. Yeah. And that's sort of that light side versus dark side stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I appreciate shit like that.
It's good imagery. I like it. He gets out and he chases down Vader. Vader just sort of like, I can sense something.
Oh, I really appreciated this.
And I do like how they do this, especially when it comes to them anyway. He ignites his lightsaber and he's right behind them at that point. Manages to block him and they get into another battle there.
I'm going to have to rewatch this fight.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I've rewatched it about 5 times. I've got it on right now.
In fact, can you send... I want to see the fight with that.
I've sent
edit.
it. It's in the chat.
Cool. I'm going to watch that as soon as I get home.
I watched it with the the Govee lights that I have on my TV.
Oh, don't.
The way that the red and the blue like swish around and lights up the room as it goes around, I was like, oh, this is great.
Dude,
okay, before we get any further, genuine question, because I've seen complaints about this, the lightsabers. So people have complained that the lightsabers are like too bright or almost too realistic. Do either of you have problems with it?
I have one problem.
Nah.
I have one
don't have
problem.
problems with this. I get what they're saying. It's a bit different. Is it my favorite way the lightsabers have been done? Probably not, but I like it.
It's an artistic direction choice, but also if anybody's played with actual lasers, like I spent a bunch of years like a fucking scientist. Like lasers are bright as shit.
Yeah. I just think the blue is too much.
The blue is pretty overwhelming.
The red, when the red lights up the room, there's usually a reason for it. It's like you're trying to signify evil.
It's the underlit evil face,
When you put blue, it's like, cool, that's thing, but it usually takes all of the detail out of a face, and I'm like, okay, I can't see what even, like their eyes look so strange as well. It's almost like you're shining a light to see whether or not they're high. It's like, hold on a second, what's going on?
It looks almost like they've got a black light out looking for stains.
Just a touch too much, that's the only thing, but... I'm like Tyler. I can overlook a lot of stuff because it's my favorite thing in the world.
I like the red. I think the blue should have been turned down just a little bit. But either it's Space Wizards and laser swords. I'm in.
I know that James is broken up Tyler's friendship with him because he's being a little bitch.
Has James ever had a good take?
James is being a proper little
bitch.
Bitch. That's what he's being right there.
Yeah, Sickford. I know you watch all of our stuff, but never comment.
Exactly.
And pretend you don't watch it, but I know you do.
So yeah, they're battling it out, and it's quite an epic battle.
Why do we always beef out James?
James is just an easy target. We're punching down. What you're punching same level.
I'm punching horizontally.
I'm punching down. So then so the big battle breaks out. They're fighting, and it's fucking epic. It's amazing.
I do love the. We mentioned it where like. Kenobi pushes Vader away. Finally, this isn't like a weak push. This isn't like when he pushed Reaver. This is like a punch.
Yeah.
He hurls him across the space
Yeah.
and then like levitates all these rocks. And in that moment, that's when I finally believe General Kenobi's back.
Yeah.
Right? That's when it's not Vader versus this old guy that used to be somebody once in the day. This is this is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Now this is a real fight. Now he's in real danger.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was something about the way he stood there and like summoned those rocks that was like I could almost hear him saying like it's good to be back.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He picks up those
and him
rocks.
doing the Anakin behind the back move as well, like
yes,
twice.
I saw
like
it.
spin behind the back. I'm like, fuck, that's so cool. It's like, it's like, do you know what it's like? It's like Obi-Wan is harnessing Anakin to fight Darth Vader.
Yes.
Like, it's like you're seeing the part of Anakin that still lives through his friend.
Yeah.
Fighting back against Vader with the choreography. That's fucking beautiful. That's beautiful.
I haven't watched any, I think it's Rebels or whichever it is with Kenobi and Anakin. But if you listen to Sam Witwer, which I have heard, him talking about Maul versus Kenobi, where he talks about Kenobi goes into Kenobi, then he goes into like Qui-Gon, and he baits Maul into a fight where Maul's like, I fought this guy before, I know how to beat him, and Kenobi knows what's coming and defeats him. And that's because Kenobi is, of all the masters, of all the Jedi, he was the best at swordsmanship. Like the best.
We've seen that. We've fucking seen that.
Exactly. And it's cool to see, like, he's so good, even now, as rusty as he is, and it's clear that then neither of them are fighting as well as they did on Mustafa, right? For various reasons.
Yeah.
But, like, he just understands swordplay to such
But they were better with the Force, and that's a bit of, like, the wisdom. They're both better with the Force and a bit worse at swordcraft, but still fucking overall.
But it's cool to see this guy who we assume at this point will have actually defeated Maul. But so if you listen to that Sam Witwer, he talks about like that animated Kenobi baiting Maul, where he's like, oh well, I can defeat Anakin's style would be better here, and switches to Anakin for this certain thing and switches back because he just knows swordplay to that level. And so I did catch that as well, and I was like, oh shit, it's Master Kenobi, you know, the blade sorcerer.
But I think for me, it's what it means for Anakin, though. Like, it's like Anakin gets to fight back against Vader physically. You know what I mean? It's the only sort of representation that'll ever happen of, like, Anakin fighting Darth Vader.
Yes.
In a lightsaber fight.
I want to also add to this. So, you know, we said about it makes the universe better.
Yeah.
Kenobi's beaten Anakin twice now.
Yeah.
In A New Hope, he still... Anakin has never beaten Kenobi. He gives up.
Yeah.
He doesn't even give up. He has a different goal in mind. And and I think that's the first crack in Vader's armor.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that the fact that Kenobi, who he knows has beaten him, is arguably the most formidable person out there. The fact that he just does nothing, what's that about? And I think that's the
but
first,
it's also like this is maybe this is a reach, but it's also partly because I'm a big fight fan. Yeah. And I look at this in some ways like two fighters fighting each other, right? There's so often half the battle in fighting, in martial arts, in MMA or boxing is mental.
Oh yeah.
It's mental.
That's how.
So the way I look at it's how so many fights have been won and lost at the highest of high levels of world championships. It's why Conor McGregor was so good. Exactly right. And there's so many times that the guy that, let's say the guy that trained the young guy, and the young guy's now the star. He becomes the world champion, and the old guy has been there, done that, but he's not as good of a fighter anymore. But you put him in the cage, and for whatever reason he fights this young guy who we know is a better fighter. He big brothers him. Because what does that world champion remember? The years that he was a teenager coming up, getting the shit kicked out of him by this guy. The fear he had of this guy. And for me, it's I don't look at it. I can't look at it that way. Where it's like, well, Vader lost every time. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean in skill for skill, force for force, he's better than Vader.
Vader's the
just
better
means
warrior.
it just means Obi-Wan, all he has is the mental edge over Vader. That's the crack. Yeah, like that's the only way I see it. I don't see it as it's a flaw in Vader, right? But I don't see it as a flaw in like his mystique at all. It's the humanization of him. It's the humanization of Vader is that he mentally can't get over Obi-Wan. So he can't and until he does, he can't beat him.
Right. And that's what I'm saying is I think the fact that Kenobi just gave up from Vader's perspective in A New Hope, Kenobi just gives up. What the fuck? This guy can go toe-to-toe with me. Maybe he's old now and I would have got him, but he could go toe-to-toe. He's probably got old man strength for the Force version of old man strength, right? Like,
okay.
So I think it's the fact that he just... They hardly fight, and then he just gives up. What the fuck? That's the first crack that...
Obi-Wan says it in the last episode in the flashback scenes when they're at Coruscant. It's like, until you can get over yourself, until you can get over your pride,
you'll need to win. That will be your undoing until you can get over that. And he takes that away from Vader as well. Vader doesn't win because Kenobi gave up.
So it's all from that.
I will say though, talking of like edits and fan edits and stuff, there is a fan edit of that fight in A New Hope where they sort of go add between the shot for shot, and it makes that fight pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that. I assume you've seen it, Tyler.
Yeah, I watched it last night. We watched that instead of the original scene.
Yeah, so
while we watched
I'm glad you do that, because I do this as well. For me, when I watch A New Hope, it starts with those last 5 minutes of Rogue One.
Rogue One,
It starts, and then I watch that scene until the defeat, until he kills Kenobi in the movie, and then I continue the movie standard.
And we all know how much we love, and we all know how much we love that Rogue One scene with Darth Vader.
Bucket.
Sorta ain't shit now though. I've gotten so much good Vader in this.
It's because it's not important.
Yeah.
But it's all we had in the new era of Disney, just Vader. That's all we had, so we were latching on. But now we've got, bro, I got Hayden Christensen in Darth Vader's suit.
Oh my god.
You can't beat that with Rogue One.
Hayden Christensen fighting Obi-Wan with James Earl Jones' voice as well there. It's the perfect thing. We don't need the other one anymore.
let's keep going, because I want to talk about the voice particularly, because
that's coming up right now.
The scene. I'm gonna get another. I'm gonna get a drink.
Get a drink. Okay, so after he throws all those rocks at him, they begin fighting again, but it's very one-sided. Vader's trying to get at Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan's pulling off some great maneuvers. Strikes him on his back, strikes him in his chest plate. He hits it a few times.
Because he's in Vader's head, because Kenobi before this was just trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to win.
Now he's actually trying to fight.
And that's different. Like I can't remember where I heard this once, but it was like a chess master, and he was saying that it's easy to beat somebody that's trying to beat you. It's really difficult to beat someone that's trying to play for a draw, because they're playing differently, and it's really difficult. Up to this point, Kenobi hasn't been trying to kill Vader.
Yeah.
He's been trying to get away or stay alive. And now, and you can see it with how violently he attacks that chess unit.
Yeah.
Like, he's looking to win now. He's looking to finish this fight.
He hits it, and you can hear straight away that his breathing has started to go all terrible. And he strikes him.
That was pretty good.
I've been practicing it just for this episode. He strikes the chest piece, so his breathing starts to go bad. He hits him on the back as well, and you can see like scars on some embers on the back of his cape. And then one final thing, as he tries to lunge at Obi-Wan lunges over his lightsaber and manages to clap him on the top of his head, breaking open his Darth Vader mask, seeing half of our boy Hayden Christensen inside, with the yellow eyes. How good does
he look as well? Oh
and
my
the
God.
messed up face, scars and everything, but just enough for you to be able to see this is the angry guy. This is the guy that's been pushed so far into the dark side that is fighting here today. And he says a bunch of things here, but as you said, perfectly cut between
the way that the voice modulator, or
yes,
I assume it's not actually meant to modulate his voice. It just does, because it's part of his breathing unit. That would be my guess, right? The way it cuts between James Earl Jones and Hayden is so seamless. But my God, okay,
perfection.
Hayden, I think we've all said, like, Hayden's pretty good. He just got kind of done dirty with Anakin, right?
Yeah.
Like, the way Anakin was directed and written. But Hayden's good.
I actually think he's great as Anakin in terms of like the real deep parts of Anakin. I thought he had, and in those subtle acting moments, especially in Revenge of the Sith, I think he shines through. Like in the scene where he had no dialogue and he's crying, looking out the Jedi Temple window. I'm like, that's the rawest emotion he's shown.
In Order 66 as well, he doesn't say anything, and I believe it. Yeah. You know, I think that whole movie is one of the reasons I hated Episode 2 and 3. I don't hate Episode 2 and 3, but one of my issues is that Hayden is so good, and I think he's doing a good job with what he's been asked to do. I just think he shouldn't have been asked to do those things, right? Like that pair.
Yeah, that was weird.
And so now completely vindicated.
Yeah.
But how?
I don't think he was as great trying to play the innocent child, like in Attack of the Clones. Like I think he's just so good at playing the villain.
I agree with you.
Yes,
I agree. Like all the stuff with the Tuskens.
Like,
dude, 100%, dude, 100%.
But not just them, the women and children as well. So, whoa.
But here now as Vader, and when he says like,
when it's cracked open and he can see his actual face inside, Obi-Wan.
And that first moment, what was your reaction to that first moment when you like you see him and you're like, oh my God, it's Hayden. And then when he says, I think I held Jared's hand. When he said that first line, you realise, no, I'm watching Hayden Christensen. I'm watching Anakin Skywalker in Vader's suit, where I can probably see the transformation, where I now believe I can, because I have the image now. Finally have the image. So I can believe that Hayden Christensen and Anakin Skywalker in what I grew up with prequels and that suit guy are the same person, because I've seen it visually and it performed in a way that makes so much sense. And
I was really worried.
They physically bridged the gap.
They did it.
It
was perfect. It was perfect. I was really worried that we wouldn't get Hayden wouldn't get really any lines, right, as Vader, because there's no reason for him to take off his helmet. It only ever comes off for two things. One, when he dies, and he wants to speak to Luke. And then when he goes in the back tank, there's no other reason for us to see that.
No talking involved.
But like breaking through it, and we can see that Anakin, but it's still mostly Vader, but we can see Anakin, we can see the eye. Yeah. The fact that his voice switches between it, and the fact that he says stuff like, don't worry, you didn't kill.
Let me say this.
Yes,
so when the face cracks open, when the face cracks open, you see Obi-Wan just like stop after that point, and he just looks in and he says, "Anakin." And I'm like,
buckets.
And
Anakin says, Vader says,
sad buckets.
Anakin is
gone. Can I play one of the characters and you do the other?
Go on, yeah,
Sure, okay. I'll do Anakin.
Okay, so I go, Anakin?
Anakin is gone. I am what remains.
And he says it with pain and the voice modulation difference.
In his voice, I was like, wait, am I going to actually try to read it like him? I'm like, no, I can't. I'm just going to like say it dramatically.
My hair's tingling.
And he says,
I am what remains. And you're like, what the fuck? It's a deep one, but it's not too deep. It gives you that time where like, you're like, oh my God, this is happening. Because they can't give you the like important, really meaningful line in that first instance. Because I think they know fans are just going to be like, what the fuck? Like processing this happening.
Yeah. But like, Phil, think about how diminished this version of Anakin is.
Yeah.
No Padme, no kids, no Kenobi. Forced, as far as he sees it, forced to defend Palpatine against the evil Jedi that betrayed him. That Mace Windu betrayed them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, to the point where he literally doesn't know himself anymore.
Right.
Like he doesn't even see himself as that person.
And then something happens afterwards. The next lines are very fucking powerful. It's almost like Obi-Wan's thinking all of this at the time, and he's just like, I'm sorry, Anakin. I'm sorry for all of it.
Oh, he says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it.
For all of it.
Like that pause, and between each line, like he has to gulp in not to cry.
Yeah.
And
Ewan's so good.
What Anakin says.
I started crying. I was in tears.
Anakin's line though.
Do you have what Anakin says afterwards?
I know it. I've watched this scene 100 times, so I know it.
So
good.
He okay. So for all of it, I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. And when it goes and he says Obi-Wan, that's when it becomes James Earl Jones's voice.
Yeah.
So it like literally
the
midline
switch
transition
between them
perfect.
is so good.
Then it cuts back to Ewan McGregor and his reaction to that first line. And it almost gives you that beat of moment of like, wait, are we going to see like Anakin talking to where he sort of shines through? You have that moment where you think that. And then he says with the blue light in his eyes, you did not kill Anakin Skywalker. And he's saying it like Vader would say it, but it's Hayden's voice pacing, so I love that. And then there's another beat pause and you're like, where's he going with this? Where's he going with this? And then you see the yellow eye and the evil grin and the smirk, and he's proud of himself, and he just says, I did. And I'm like, wow.
Nut.
Wow.
Buckets. I was worried I was going to dehydrate in front of my missus. Just right there. It was...
almost passed
thing is, like, I think Anakin blames himself for... he's like, you betrayed me.
It was both of them talking. It was almost both of them talking.
And this is why he says he killed Anakin, because if Anakin hadn't been so naive and had seen the betrayal of the Jedi and had seen Kenobi turning Padme against him, he could have done something. But he wasn't able to see it. He was too naive and didn't see his true master and friend, Palpatine, ready to guide him there. So Vader...
What does he say in Rebels? Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him.
Yes.
I have.
How do we feel about that they've done the face thing before with Ahsoka? Do we think that matters, or are we like that we're fine?
Nah,
I'm
no
fine.
one
I haven't
cares
seen
about
that. It's
animated
animated.
shit.
It's
No
not
one cares.
canon. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that it's animated, so it doesn't really count. But it's in canon. But my thing is, that's not fair. That like I get the guy that's played him in Clone Wars. That was his Anakin version of Anakin, his representation of Anakin as an actor. As Darth Vader, they got to see that transition. I'm like, I want to see that with Hayden. That's equally as important because it's a different.
Hayden,
yes, in canon, it's the same character, but it's a different take on it. It's a different take on the character, and I want to see it in this way, so it doesn't diminish it.
Hayden's my Anakin, and James Earl Jones is my Vader, and I got to get both of them in the same suit. Like I couldn't be happier with that.
100%.
I quickly want to go back to something you said where like he killed Anakin, and the way that you guys took it, was like he's probably thinking, Anakin was too weak to see the fall of the Jedi's plot to overtake, and my friend Palpatine and stuff like that. You know, our conversations about how this show really should have been really about him thinking about Padme, and then Palpatine whispering in his
and Obi-Wan
ear,
trying to turn him. Like the show should have been, the plot should have been of this show of the first two episodes. You rescue Leia, she gets back on the third episode.
Better show,
now,
let's be honest.
Now he's off to try to find like I wanted the whole show to be about Obi-Wan finds out somehow Vader's alive because I want to see that moment, that reaction, that moment, which I loved, was one of my favorite moments of the series.
Incredible,
of Ewan's reaction, right? And we talked about that in the reviews of that. But then I want the show, once he finds out, find a way to make him find out, and then from there the whole plot should be Obi-Wan trying to find Anakin to turn him back to good and find a way, because he still believes there's good in him. So then it plays to the line of Return of the Jedi where Vader says, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. You don't know the power of the dark side. I must serve my master. Like, that's the line in Return of the Jedi. So it plays to that. Now, I think, I'm like, the fact that Leia was the reason to go off the planet, and the fact that Leia was so amazingly done, there's no other way I would have wanted it. She's the thing I didn't know I wanted.
Yes.
And no, I needed from this show.
Well, I was going to say, you can interpret the thing that I said there about like him feeling like that was the reason why he killed Anakin. I took it as another way because I'm still invested in our way we was thinking, our story was thinking, that he killed Anakin because he had to kill Anakin. He wouldn't be able to live being Anakin, the Anakin that was too weak to save Padme, too weak to prevent anything, any of the bad stuff that happened in his life to happen. That it was all because of him. That
and if you look at Vader,
he had to kill that part of him and believe that he is Vader to move on.
If you look at Vader as similar to like a Sauron One Ring on Golem, right? Like it's like a disease. It's like another personality but it's like another personality, right? Vader's another person, like this curse on Anakin that breaks him down. And it's like he didn't just kill Anakin inside himself. He also physically used Anakin's body to kill Padme. Like,
that's the moment where his personalities break.
That's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the moments. It's one of the chip away moments that Vader's like, I'm killing Anakin by doing this, and then trying to kill Obi-Wan. Like, that's Vader's way of breaking through. And the more time goes on and the more things he does, the more Vader's the one in control, and the more Anakin sinks away and dies.
Maybe. So are you saying, Ed, more that your interpretation is that, I'm not going to say the exact word because YouTube will definitely take us out, but that Anakin sort of took himself out, and what was left was Vader.
Yeah, that's the way
he opted out of the thing psychologically.
Exactly. Like he had to.
Oh, can you not say that word on YouTube?
No, we'll definitely get done. And I've mentioned Hitler a bunch of times, and I know for a fact we'll get done for that. Yeah,
that's what I think. I think he had to destroy that part of him because he couldn't face living with it. That's what I want to believe anyway. It may be incorrect. You guys can also tell me if I'm being dumb about it. But
I don't think any one of us is correct. I think we're all right in different amounts. You know, when we were discussing...
I just think that's more powerful, maybe. I don't know.
You know, when we were discussing about, like, Kenobi's response to... And, like, I was saying it was guilt that he left his best friend there to die, but didn't... If he'd known he was alive, he would have taken him. And someone else was like, I regret that he didn't finish it, and look what's happened. And, you know, like... It's all correct. All of it's right. And that's also one of the things that makes... That's why I think Star Wars speaks to so many people. Like, no other show or movie has affected, like, culture. Like, everybody knows the Luke, I'm your father, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows Darth Vader. If you go... Everybody knows it's Vader. And there's a reason. It's because you can see just about anything you want in it, and it still fits because it's got that amount of freedom to work with, and it still works. And that's the genius in Star Wars, is that they didn't make it exact, and so whatever you felt, you're right. And that's why it's so good, and that's why all of our interpretations
can logic our way through this.
Yeah, they're all correct, which is what makes it so good.
I love that.
And every time you've said like, "Oh, I think Anakin got rid of himself, and that's why Vader there," and I'm like, "Well, Vader murdered Anakin because Anakin."
Yeah, what shows this many interpretations?
Nothing. It's so good. Nothing else.
Yeah.
That's why Star Wars is what it is. That's why we're such big simps of it. Yeah. There's no way we could have this kind of discussion about like Marvel movies. I love them.
No.
But like it doesn't go this deep. No, that's why we love Star Wars.
They're very surface level.
I could talk about deeper with Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings lore 100%, but yeah, I see.
Yeah, but it's only you'd be talking in an empty room with a straitjacket probably.
Exactly.
But back to good things.
Well, my life partner David Jerome's the one.
That's right.
Your life partner, that's right.
Did that make it in at the beginning of this?
I think it will.
Okay,
I think
good.
it will.
Because otherwise that's going to be really out there for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Or they find out I'm asexual in a homosexual relationship.
That's right.
That's it.
That will be out of left field legally.
Yeah, right.
As well.
Yeah, and after he says I did, Obi-Wan says then my friend is truly dead, and he puts away his lightsaber and he leaves. And screaming, left there while trying to catch his breath in his broken suit, Obi-Wan!
The way he fails because he doesn't have enough oxygen, like he just he's trying. He would, but he's out of it.
Yeah,
like he just doesn't have the resources to keep going.
Yeah, Now that part's over, we cut to Tatooine, where Luke is on the run. Reva's trying to chase after him. She wants justice for what Anakin did to all the other younglings and wants to do the same thing by killing his
Can you believe that guy murdered
youngling.
kids? Let's go murder this kid.
Murder this kid as revenge.
By the way, I gotta say, and this is, again, my problem with Reva, is that she knows stuff that she shouldn't know. Okay, we've squared the circle. How did she know he was Anakin? Because she was there.
Right.
Cool, okay. But, like... this doesn't make sense. How she doesn't know the connection between them and Luke. So the only reason to be here is to hurt Kenobi.
She said so. I think she got this. The problem, I didn't fully get that she got all the information from that little hologram.
I don't think she
but
does.
Yeah, it makes no. It's the biggest leap all time.
Yeah,
it's maybe the biggest leap in the history of Star Wars.
She got the information that there's a boy on Tatooine, but she seems to make the leap that that's Anakin's son. And I was like, how did this all work out?
Or
here?
that he's important to Anakin in any way.
Yeah.
Or Vader in any way. And the reality is that what she should have taken from it is this is a communication to Kenobi, the boy, Tatooine, Owen. That's what she knows.
I've just thought of something that's extra, that's dumb. Maybe it was to get back at Kenobi because her plan failed and he was supposed to help her. But then that means it's extra dumb because you haven't even made that obvious, and we're clearly confused in what plan you've tried to sell. This is all very very dumb.
It's rough. And again, one of the things that bugs me in a meta sense, like outside of the show, is that we knew they were umming and ahhing about a Vader show, which is, I mean, for me, that's like an obvious like.
How is that an umming and ahhing, right?
How's that?
Do you still want to see a Vader show? Do you still want to see a Vader show?
I want to see a Vader show if it does the thing that we've been talking about, where we get to see more of his.
No, I've got it now. I've got the closure. I just needed to see. We kept talking. What was the real reason? When you look deep down, of course, the way we wanted it told was different, and would have been better if we'd come up with it, right?
Yeah,
but what we wanted through it, Vader, but what we wanted through it was to see our Anakin Hayden plays our Anakin become the Darth Vader we see in A New Hope, because we didn't see that. That was the purpose, and we saw that here. So I don't need to see it retold in a different way.
I could go either way on it. I'm kind of with you. Like, I got what I needed. I got what I wanted. I think there's still room to be done. Yeah, there's room for it. If it goes like Kenobi, I'm not. Like, in a different world where we'd write Kenobi in a Vader show or just Kenobi, it obviously goes differently. But from a meta sense, so like 2 weeks before the finale episode, we were hearing rumors, or it was like episode 3 or 4 was out, and they were like, "Oh, there are talks about our Vader show, but they're not sure. Nothing's certain yet." And then episode 5 or something comes out, and they're like, Reva's confirmed getting her own spin-off show. And I'm like,
that's the one you're confirmed on?
This is the thing that bugs me. It's like they worked so hard to make her cool, which made her not cool in the early episodes. And then it just bugs me that this was clearly set up to give Reva a show that was always going to happen. And then it was handled, Reva's whole arc was handled so poorly.
Yeah.
It just, that really bugs me.
Yeah. And I hate that there's people that are being actually racist to this actress, to a great actress as well. And
Darth
being pieces
Vader's
of
black.
shit, right?
Darth Vader's James Earl Jones. What the fuck are you talking about? You're an idiot if you have a problem. Like,
no. I just mean like, I hate that she has to go through that shit, right? That's so not right that she has to go through that.
Yeah.
But there's also, I don't want it to get mixed up with real criticism as well.
Yes.
Because there are real criticisms to be had, and it's a shame because Disney are going to assume anything that's said negatively about her is racist, which it just isn't true. Yeah. Because I have criticism about her, and it's not about her, the actress. It's about the writers. I'm annoyed at the writers.
Yeah.
I'm like, why did you?
That's what they'll hide
clearly try so hard to make us like this character because really you just wanted to make a character for a spin-off.
Yeah, and she ended
it's
up
not
being
because
2D.
it's a woman. It's not because she's a person of color. Disney just wanted to make a character to make more money with, and it just happened to be this actress. Yeah, and half the people could smell bullshit. In those first couple of episodes.
She ends up being 2D because they're trying to get the spin-off show to work, whereas we would have all cried out, "Give me a Reva spin-off show!" if they just made her consistently, good villain. Also, like the reality is, she's not black. She's an alien with a hole in her stomach.
Yeah,
where there's nothing.
She is
there.
an alien with a hole in her stomach. Yeah, she's an alien.
So those people are stupid. That's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like you said, like Lando, Finn, the umpteen million different frickin' aliens.
Yeah.
Like if people can tolerate Jar Jar and Boss Nass and stuff like that, and Watto, who are like blue and multicolored orange and shit. We can deal with black. Come on, you need to grow up. Yeah. Plus, Vader's black.
Also, the thing is that I love.
That would have been better. I think they should have had the face reveal of Vader, and it was James Earl Jones.
It was just James Earl Jones under there. Yeah, his old man.
Father. Oh yeah,
it all makes sense.
Padme kept one thing from me.
Okay. So while this is happening, Reva's chasing Luke around on Tatooine. Yep. He manages to escape and goes into like a canyon somewhere nearby, and she goes after him, and he's running on like a top, another tier, another layer on top, and Reva pulls Luke down, and it's as if at that moment Obi-Wan.
Maybe I missed it.
She pulled. That's what I saw anyway. Like force pulled him. He started to fucking slide all the way down. And Obi-Wan at this point, almost as if he can sense it that Luke is in trouble, speeds off to Tatooine. I don't know how he thinks he's going to get there in time, but Luke is now laying on the floor.
Also, I just realised the big ship didn't have a hyperdrive. The little ship did have a.
The little ship is totally fine.
Is that Star Wars though, in it?
Star Wars logic for you guys. Get used to it. Reva sees Luke on the floor and that he's helpless. He's knocked out, and she sees her moment. She goes up to him. She pulls out her lightsaber, and that's where she starts to have the flashbacks to flashes of as if it's her laying on the ground.
I can't tolerate child murderers. Here, let me deal with this.
And then sees herself in Anakin's shoes, the same way that she saw Anakin about to stab her. And there's one point where it flicks and she's Vader, and she finally gets that this isn't the right thing to do. She does pull up her lightsaber and I'm gonna do it. But then it cuts back to Obi-Wan landing, and we see Owen and Aunt Peru looking at the distance. Luke, come back. Where's Luke? Oh, she's probably going to the canyons. We must go find him. And then when they turn around, Reva's there with Luke in their hands, puts Luke down, and it almost looks like he's dead. She doesn't say anything, the fucking bitch. She just lets them believe that the kid's dead. It's like, oh no, you didn't do. It's like,
imagine she just got turned into a freaking like
Right.
smear by Kenobi.
Right, like he just force pushed her into the ground and turned her into a puddle, and then he wakes up. It's like, oh, hello. Anyway, Luke wakes up. He's totally fine. She couldn't do it, and she says,
I blocked this whole section out. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't need to.
I actually don't know what even happened.
Yeah,
The
so,
only-
I don't
so
remember
what
what
actually
happened.
happens is we cut to that
Who
cave on that
cares
one
about
planet.
this? The show ended
And
already. The
Reva
last scene happened.
Turns out she isn't dead, and she limps out of the cave towards one of the ships that was just left. That's how this happens.
"What's that?
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's how the show ends.
is that how it ends?" It's
Yeah,
just,
we
that's
cut
it?
to that planet
Okay.
where the refugees were. Reva
And
wakes
done.
up from the floor and she limps out to a ship
I
and just
didn't-
heads off. We don't know where
and
to.
then she goes off home. She doesn't come up for this bit.
Right.
There's only one bit that was semi decent in this bit where she goes, she breaks down. She's like, have I become him?
Yeah.
Because of what she said.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan is like, no, you chose to go a different way. Now who you become is up to you. Setting up the Disney show. It's like, yeah, go on. That's what we did. We're not
Luckily, you
interested.
have
But-
no
but,
baggage.
like,
It's
and
not
that-
like you've
and that's-
helped
and that's
child
all nice.
Murder.
Yeah.
It's not like you've trafficked people, kidnapped them, cut off some lady's hand at the beginning of the show, threw a knife at a dude's
Yeah.
face. You're definitely not this same person. It's okay.
Whoever you want to become,
Yeah,
Clean
like-
it's
slate.
up to you.
It's really is, but it's just like there would be weight to it because the concept of like an Inquisitor that's really trying to get revenge on Anakin,
Yeah.
and by doing that actually becomes him, but then stops and gets
Yeah.
redemption. That's a great concept for a story.
Yeah.
It's a really
and
cool
its own
idea.
series.
Yeah.
But it was executed fucking horrifically in this show.
Poorly.
Horrifically.
Just
I didn't like
terrible.
it. I didn't like it at all.
We
Yeah.
cut to Mustafa, and Vader's fine. He's got his suit patched up. He's all cool, and he's having a conversation with Palpatine on a hologram for
Yeah.
all of 5 seconds.
On the throne, though.
And the throne does look pretty awful, but whatever, we'll gloss past that. And he's having that conversation. And he has the conversation that you said, where it's like, you're not over, Obi-Wan. I fear he's clouding your judgment. And he's like, Obi-Wan means nothing to me. And then the hologram cuts off.
It's
Epic
it's a
music of
callback to
dun,
that
dun, dun,
moment
dun.
of Kylo Ren.
Yes.
Going, no, he means nothing to me. That same, like, you can't still be living in the past of Anakin or Ben Solo. You are Kylo Ren, you are Darth Vader.
Right.
And because I love those two characters, they're my two favorite Star Wars characters. and
Yeah,
Obi-Wan.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, so I just love the parallels between them. And I think it was just the perfect moment of, like, Anakin is dead because I don't even care about Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied when Obi-Wan dies because he's a Jedi and we kill Jedi and he's a master of those Jedi. Whereas it's not because I'm Anakin and I want revenge, which is sort of how I see it in my head and why he's not emotional about it in A New Hope. And he's just like, this is a great day.
Yeah.
He literally says, this is a great day. Once they are about to squash the rebellion, he's like, it's seen the end of Kenobi and now it'll see the end of the rebellion. Like, it just makes sense to me that that's who he is. And that's the first time we hear the Imperial March in this show and with this Vader.
And that's, you said it's a callback to the Kylo Ren thing. He means nothing to me, in regards, he's talking about Han Solo. Vader's functionally talking about his dad as well.
Yes,
in
exactly.
Kenobi. So it's, I love that symmetry,
Yep.
We then cut to Leia on Naboo.
That's why it's Naboo.
It's definitely Naboo.
Iconic,
definitely.
easy to recognize.
Easy to recognize. She's
Never once mistaken.
She's getting dressed and getting ready to meet somebody. She's wearing a holster and
she's
her mum,
in the same garb.
Exactly,
It's
same
so
garb.
good.
Mum comes and picks her up. They go over to the landing pads. Like, who are we meeting? Some more cousins today. And it turns out it's Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan comes to return the classic and very much loved Lola droid that we all love and all want.
Definitely not shoehorned.
Was that supposed to be a meme reference to Leia running past Chewbacca in The Force Awakens when she just ran past Obi-Wan to Lola? I was like, was that them on the nose referencing that?
Could be.
I also thought that looked familiar, I have to be honest.
It's like I just saw it as a little kid. It's like, hey Lola. It's like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan. Yeah,
It's like,
cool,
hey,
cool.
clear attempt at merchandising, which it hasn't worked. This wasn't BB-8.
No,
Like BB-8, we all kind
Lola's not bad. Little Leia really, did well. She did her best.
Yeah,
she did her best with that.
She did. So they like, I'm glad I've seen you again.
Yeah.
Everyone's all happy.
All right, read the dialogue.
And then we have the moment about the about with Obi-Wan and Leia, where it's like, when you asked me about your parents.
Yeah.
I
want to say, I said this is one of my favorite bits.
Yeah.
It is because this is Kenobi saying goodbye to Anakin to me. That's why I love this, because now Anakin's dead.
Yeah.
And
I don't actually have the word for word bit for this, but I do remember something like when you asked it, you're courageous, you're oh God, what is the line?
God. He's fucking butchering it, guys.
Well, do you have it? Do you have it?
Yeah,
from the top of my head.
Get Disney out.
Oh
God, no!
This is fucking.
I need the
mental.
goddamn. You.
But why aren't you prepared? I just don't know how.
Listen,
Eddie's not
it's
prepared.
all on me, goddammit!
I assumed when those lines happened, you'd be like, "This is so good, I'm gonna write down the dialogue." And you didn't.
I didn't write it down. I'm sorry.
Why
I
didn't you?
failed you, master.
Pull up Disney Plus. I don't have it on my laptop.
Okay, all right, here we go.
I'm pulling it up on my phone right now.
God damn it!
I'm so fucking annoyed.
I'm so genuinely.
You guys
disappointed
can all be
right
disappointed in me, all right? I'll take the hit.
Yeah.
God damn it. Anyway, boys, how are you liking Star Wars? Hopefully good.
Hopefully it's
We're
great.
excited for the
Putting
Reva
subtitles
show.
on. If anyone, I just want to throw back while I pull this up. No one can say ever again and have any legs to stand on that Hayden Christensen's a bad actor. By the way, after how good he was, the best moment, maybe one of my favorite moments ever in Star Wars, is the moment where I, for the first time, believed that Vader really was a different person. Because when he says, I did, the smile and
smile,
just how proud and boastful he is. He's like, he's boasting. It's like that moment. It's like that moment in The Big Short when they goes, why are they confessing? He's like, they're not confessing. They're bragging. About breaking the law. It's like exactly like that where he's like, wait, he's not trying to make you feel better. He's bragging. He's bragging. He's proud of it.
He's also trying to take something away from Kenobi. You didn't kill Anakin. You can't kill Anakin. I killed Anakin.
Yeah.
That's what Vader's trying to do. And then at the same time, I'd love, like we said, we can sort of believe whatever we want. I'd like to believe that Anakin is saying the same words but meaning something different of like... Because at first he refers to it as like, I'm not your failure. As in, I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin. I did. Like...
Yeah, there's so many different ways you can take that.
There's ways to take it, and I'd like to think it's a bit of both. Again, I'm sure I'm stretching.
The way he almost gave him hope was just something. It was like, you didn't kill him. It's like, oh,
because after he heard that, he was good. Yeah, that's what Obi-Wan needed to let go. To accept that Anakin's dead.
I'm not your failure.
Yeah.
Like it's almost forgiveness, right? Like you didn't do anything.
Yeah, don't blame yourself, mate.
Right.
While Vader's trying to take away, but like, no, don't you blame yourself. I fucking did that shit.
Right.
It's a double meaning with both characters.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan, when he was with Leia, saying like, "Oh, you asked if I knew your parents before." Princess Leia Organa, who says, "You are wise, discerning." I'm reading it as it happens. Kind-hearted. These are the qualities that came from your mother.
But you're also passionate, forthright, courageous, and these are gifts from your father.
Yes. These are gifts from your father. And that is goodbye.
They bore an exceptional daughter.
Yeah.
And they're exceptional people who both bore an exceptional daughter.
Yeah. Goodbye,
I wish I could
Anakin.
tell you more. And she says it's okay and looks at... Yeah, and she says it's okay. And then she says the same thing little Annie says to his mother, am I ever going to see you again? Like exactly what Annie says to his mother before he leaves Tatooine and never sees her again until she dies. Which is the exact thing with Leia. She doesn't see Obi-Wan again until he dies.
Yeah. True.
Think about that. Just as another little
that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Same one. Am I ever going to see you again?
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And then round it off. Kenobi packs up his cave.
Yeah, he packs up his cave. He decides he's not going to live there anymore. He's going to find a new cave somewhere. Because where does he live? He lives in like some sort of hut or a cave somewhere, right?
Well, it's a much nicer yard than this
Much
cave.
nicer than the cave, I'll give you that. And then he swings by Luke's Owen's moisture farm right there. Heads by and he's like, hey, it's like, I'm not here to cause any trouble. We're just going to say goodbye. I'm going to be going away for a while. All the boy needs is you now. All the protection he needs is with you and Baru.
Oh, this you wrote down.
Oh, this is important.
I'm about to say this is... What the fuck?
All the boy needs now is to be a boy. That's what he says.
That is what he says. Those exact words, actually.
All the protection he needs is you and Baru. And then just as he's about to leave, he's like, Ben, do you want to meet him? And he does. He takes his wing toy thing that he made before, the shark fins or whatever, and he goes over there, gives it, and he says, hello there to the boy in his classic way. And it was like, oh, it's fucking great. But then he walks off into the distance. Nothing like that. He walks off into the distance. He sees like a cave, a divide in a cavern between his sea. And just as he's about to head out there, who shows up at the last minute? Qui-Gon. Oh, boy, Qui-Gon.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I felt like at the very end, it was kind of tacked on.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was nice to see him, but it was very tacked on.
It was tacked on. I felt
it really should have been when he was having. It should have been when he was having that rebirth moment where he remembered Luke and Leia, and then got that strength back. That should have been Qui-Gon. Should have been right there.
I would have been
that was his rebirth.
Just
that was
his
moment.
I would have been okay.
Yeah,
with
it's just a voice. He can show up later again. You can see him physically at the end, but his voice gets in this part.
I would have preferred. When he's sitting in the that little room in the shuttle just before he leaves.
Yeah.
For Qui-Gon to say, "Okay, Kenobi, like Obi-Wan
did well."
Like you need to.
No, because what's he going to say to him? Is he going to say no? Because Qui-Gon wouldn't say you need to settle this. Qui-Gon would say you need to let this go. It's not your fault. So blaming yourself. And Anakin needs to be the one to say that. So he can't really get that from Qui-Gon until after he's dealt with the past, which he does and forgives himself.
That's true. I was tacked on here, and like it just feels.
I agree.
I was still hyped seeing Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
But I also don't know when else they could have done it, just because it doesn't make sense.
Perfect moment where he did reach out for. After he reached out to try and like speak to him, it's like, Master, I need to do this. When he goes. After that moment where he's trying to reach out, there should have been a moment of silence, and it should have just been like, may a force be with you, or something like that. And then he would have had the strength to, that would have at least given him the strength to get it all back and then go, okay, I need to fight Vader. But a voice would have been nice earlier on. And then that's the end of the episode, and that's that done. The entire series wrapped up. Possibly the rumors of a season 2 happening as well, possibly.
Okay.
Don't know if it's been confirmed. It sounds like it's just Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor want to do a season 2.
I mean, they can't ever see each other again.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
There's no story reason. There's no compelling fan reason. There's no visual something different.
There is one story thing. Vader is the second most powerful person in the galaxy with unlimited resources. And his arch nemesis, the only person that can bring this whole thing crumbling down as far as he knows, is out there. We need a reason.
No, because he had to let go of Obi-Wan. He's now no longer cares, and he stopped looking for Obi-Wan after this because the Emperor's like, saw it as a sign of weakness. He's like, no, stop looking for it. So that's what that was.
If the fight had
he's let that go
with Vader burying Kenobi, then I could have been like, oh, okay, he thinks he's dead this whole time. That kind of makes sense a bit. But I don't know. I'm with you. I just feel like I don't buy it.
So I was gonna say, how you were saying how there's no more story in between that you would want to see
with Vader. I have an idea for you that doesn't include Vader for an Obi-Wan season 2. Well, Vader just can't be in it.
Well, let me get this one. Let me get this out for you. So I'm with you where like the Obi-Wan part doesn't work anymore because it's filled the only gap that was available, and anything else just isn't going to make sense. You're going to be trying too hard. The thing that isn't explained, the thing that was really good about the story that we came up with here is I don't buy 100% buy the fall of Anakin so far to the point where he forgets everything. I understand you wanting to forget everything, and like I said, he may have wanted to kill the Anakin part of him because of his failures, but it seems like a step just too far. He went from, I was doing all of this to save Padme, And I'm
Well, I
now
think the
over
big
that,
awkward
and
leaps was in Revenge of the Sith. I don't think it was after.
Well, still, but there is another one after. That's what I'm saying, and it's just like it was all to save Padme. Padme's
But there's
died.
10 years between. He's already gone through 10 years of what you'd assume is a lot more darkness and letting go and suffer, and not even letting go, just darkness and suffering.
Well, that's the thing.
You're saying killing it.
You're saying not letting go. We haven't seen any letting go.
Yeah.
So
well, he can't. No, he can't let go.
No.
But you can't let it go because he has to be suffering through it, and that's what motivates him with Luke and Leia. So it's not. We never see him let it go.
I don't get the vibe that this is a Vader that's constantly thinking about his failings of Padme. I get the vibe that this is a Vader
that's already happened. It's already happened.
What do you mean?
So like he's already dealt with this. Like I feel
how?
like
That's the part. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
So but you're trying to go with but you
let me say.
So you're asking.
Let me say.
No, I'm not. It doesn't make sense because we're talking about a season 2 of Obi-Wan.
No.
But then you'd have to go backwards because he's already gone through.
Okay, so I wasn't talking about a season 2 of Obi-Wan. You decide you want to talk about it, no problem. You continue, no problem. As I was saying, there was a bit that hasn't been answered and a bit that I couldn't understand and I would like to be talked about. Is that part where like he realized he's failed with Padme and the motivation, the feeling, the suffering of that has just disappeared. We never get to see any sort of like suffering of that or resolution of that or whatever he wants to do. And that part that you guys were talking about, where like going to her grave and then Palpatine really manipulating his mind and stuff like that was so cool and so compelling to the point that I could see him wanting to destroy that part of him just so he could get away from it. And I could see that being Palpatine's thought all the way through it. But we haven't seen that part. All we've seen is that he lost Padme and I'm all right, I'm going to be Darth Vader now.
Yeah.
It's like to me, it doesn't seem.
I just don't
compelling.
need to see it anymore. I don't need to see it anymore. After that, this closed the book for me. This gave me the feeling I wanted, and I can accept that Obi-Wan's more important than Padme in some ways, especially in the last bit of Anakin ways.
Well, he's a man. She's
like
a woman.
I don't need.
I think
That's all. I just don't need to see it anymore.
I can see. He has no idea what it's like to be loved by a woman. I can see how. If they did this, if they gave it to us and they were like, "Yo, we heard your podcast. Make this almost a 4 TV movie, right? It's 3 episodes, an hour long a piece, and you're gonna go through that arc, right? Of like, he's done with Kenobi. He goes off, but there's still that one last thing, and then go through our arc that we pitched for the movie. I'd be down to see that, but I don't think we need to now see like that whole Anakin Vader propaganda piece. That's how my version of the movie starts. It's just Vader, hero of the Empire, and then goes through stuff. I think we're kind of okay now.
I think the Vader that's been established now in canon's just not there. Like
right.
I saw him as evil. I saw him as terrifying in horror movie in episode 3.
Yeah.
I saw him fight Obi-Wan. I saw him do all these things. I saw him, like Anakin, become the original trilogy's Darth Vader. I saw it. I saw that. I saw it happen, and I believed it, and I was satisfied with it. That's how I feel about it.
I agree.
So when I think I don't really need to go backwards, you could do a separate Vader show afterwards, and it's about something else. I don't know.
And I'd probably tell. You know, you mentioned Homelander earlier. That's kind of the vibe, in the sense of like, I get that the average person probably thinks of Vader like Homelander, like Superman, and in reality, Vader is the kind of guy that pulls families out of their home and murders them in front of where he thinks someone is watching to bait them into a rash move, right? But he only does that in the faraway village on the backwater planet, where the only other people that are going to live to see it are stormtroopers who are going to clean up any survivors anyway, right? So
definitely.
That's kind of the Vader. Right. If we're going to do a Vader show, I think it should be something like that. I don't think Vader and Kenobi ever meet again. I wouldn't want them to.
I can't see that.
Until A New Hope.
Can I ask you both throw an idea at you?
Go ahead.
Because this is my idea for Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2.
Crazy where it idea. Doesn't do include. We actually focus on Obi-Wan?
Yes, that's mostly what I want. That's mostly what I want. Now, this is the only idea I have, because I'm like, what else do I want to see with Obi-Wan go through as a character arc? And because he's become the Ben Kenobi we see in A New Hope by the end of this show. That's already done now. He is that character. So what can you do if it's not character development? It'd have to be character past exploration. and he mentions he had a brother in this show. He mentioned he remembers he had a brother when he talks about getting taken away as a Jedi.
Yeah, he
and
did.
He's now got Qui-Gon, a Force Ghost, to sort of guide him a bit with some extra cool shit.
Yeah.
Like, does he learn about... Does he try to find his own identity in his past?
Yeah.
Like, he just does some self-exploration. He's like, I'm not looking after Luke. I know he's going to be fine. He's going to be a boy. So I can afford to... I've moved further. I'm still attached to him, but I've just moved further away. Can I afford to do a bit of, like, exploration of me? I don't know.
It would be cool as well to see more enemies that aren't just Sith. Right, because the Sith and Jedi are very much two sides of the same coin, right? They're two competing religions, basically. And there's a bunch of other...
And he's not hiding out either in A New Hope, really. Right. Like, he pulls out his lightsaber in the bar in Tatooine, like, he just pulls it out.
Exactly.
Like, it's not a secret. It's not like in this beginning of the series where the Inquisitors are running around. Like, so he could still just be Obi-Wan pulling out his lightsaber, doing his thing... There could be it's just a totally different plot, but it's focusing on Obi-Wan in his past, and maybe you meet his brother, and who knows what random other. And it turns out and his brother's son married Palpatine's clone, and they had Rey. So Rey's also a Kenobi. Like, they'll try to do something like that.
Square
for sure,
that circle somehow. And then Kenobi and the Skywalker bloodline are still intertwined somehow. But I just think it would be cool to see a Jedi going out there and realizing or coming into contact with, as they must have done in the shows and books and stuff and comics, with other Force users that aren't Jedi or Sith, that maybe have like a more holistic approach to things. You know, like Luke in Love It or Hate It in the sequels, Luke says some cool stuff similar to like Qui-Gon, the way Qui-Gon views it, which is that this idea of light and dark is ridiculous because it's one continuous thing. It's like night and day on a planet. It always turns. There's always some part that's grey to some amount, and like trying to get rid of all of one thing.
That's why Qui-Gon was never a Jedi Master, because he was someone that's a bit of a rebel and had his own view of the Force.
Right.
He wasn't a doctrine believer of the religion, and Luke's the most similar to Qui-Gon in that way.
There is a gap actually for something like Obi-Wan, like you said, just specifically Obi-Wan can't be interaction with Darth Vader. It's because the rebellion is kind of non-existent, kind of very early starting. So maybe he has a hand with somehow starting that up or something like
unintended
that.
consequences. Like saves one person from this thing, says something. Says, you don't always have to be.
But that's sort of happened in this show.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah.
That's the impression I sort of already got. Was like, are they just insinuating that that's where the rebellion started? That's especially with like, he can't be too involved directly with the rebellion, because in Rogue One, Bail Organa literally says, I fought with him during the Clone Wars, and like he mentions this person, but no one knows, so he can't have been there meeting them all either.
Yeah, I think if it's like unintended consequences, if he just does something and like says something that inspires somebody else, like it's a name drop that we'll recognize, that says, you don't always have to be downtrodden, or people bully the weakest or something, so stand up to them, something like that, and then you realize, this is one of the people from the thing, like that inspires them. But it's never, Obi-Wan Kenobi inspired me. It's this guy saved me from this one time, and he said this thing, and it got me thinking, because I just don't love the idea of, I don't remember the dude's name, but the leader of the rebellion in this,
Roku,
something like that. I just don't want that to be the seed of the rebellion. It's just not, and maybe it's mostly because every time you see him, it's next to Ewan, so of course it's gonna shine a light on all of his faults and stuff. And Ewan is a masterful actor anyway. Yeah. But it just didn't come across anywhere near it. He was just vastly overshadowed. It's not fair.
Overall, how did we feel about the whole show? How do we feel?
Everything. Yeah, Tyler, how do you feel?
I am disappointed with the show overall.
Yeah,
I wanted it to be about Obi-Wan trying to turn Anakin. I wanted that to be the main focus of the show. Now, even though I didn't get what I wanted it to be, what I did get, I still enjoyed. So I actually do like the show overall. Yeah. Especially key moments, and with the characters of, I love what they did with Vader, and I love what they did with Obi-Wan. I do think people keep saying there's no character arc. I felt like it was I see the arc from like 1 to 3, and he's not using the Force. And it's not until that tank scene at the beginning of 4, after he gets the ass kicked by Darth, that he sort of wakes up and's like, fuck, I need to fix this shit. And then it's 5 and 6 really becoming and reawakening, and his main Force, like that moment of, no pun intended, the Force awakens with Obi-Wan was when he thought under the rocks after Vader defeated him of Luke and Leia. That's the thing that kept him going, his reason why. I loved that storyline. And then the scene with Hayden, Ewan, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Vader. That's I think it'll be one of my top 3 favorite Star Wars scenes of all time.
Yeah,
it closed a huge love and chapter. It's everything I wanted to see. It hit all the emotions. It was beautiful. They both acted it amazingly, and that just put a great ribbon around the show for me. So I loved Obi-Wan. I loved Anakin. I loved Leia.
Absolutely.
Every other character I don't really care about and sort of got in the way. Felt like they were just in the way. I'm like, fuck off. I just want to see these guys. So overall, like half the show I love because half of it's about them, which isn't enough. It should have been all about them. Half of it's about Leia, Obi-Wan, and Darth. And the other half's about Reva, rebels that you barely know, some other stormtrooper weird characters, and that half. So I'm. It's a hit and miss. It's half I loved, half I didn't. But the stuff I love, I just love so much, and it fits so well in the universe. And I'll rewatch it for a long time.
Yeah. I'm kind of in that same boat of like the fact that the show was probably 30% what we actually wanted, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi and let's say Leia, but so much of it was other stuff. Yeah, that's a big L. Now, luckily for me,
and not good stuff too.
Yeah,
not good stuff was the problem.
It was nothing that built the universe or helped really in any way. My headcanon, you know how I said like A New Hope starts with those last 5 minutes of Rogue One. None of that Reva stuff is in here.
Yes,
Leia is kidnapped or gets lost somehow. Kenobi goes to find her, bumps into Vader, deals with it, comes home, returns Leia. That's how the show goes in my head. I'm deleting the rest of it because it wasn't any good.
It's fine by me.
And that's
I would love to see a supercut done of this show into a movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it could.
There's a way to make this perfect.
It could well have been a movie.
Yeah.
And it probably should have been with the supercut. For real, keep everything Leia.
Yeah.
Yes. Almost everything. Other than the interrogation scene with... You can get rid of all episode 4, really, other than the tank scene.
Yeah. Keep everything Leia and Kenobi, let's say.
I actually think there is a possibility. I'm thinking about it. There's a possibility to make this really good edit. Just remove all the nonsense outside of it. Fuck, that's good.
Yeah, that would be a great movie. I think that's really the way to do it. That's the way I'm going to.
And do you know what we'll call it? Do you know what we'll call it? Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, sick!
Yeah.
Crazy, bro. You've got a mind for branding.
Man.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing, bro.
That's that's how I choose to view it. Because the reality is it was incredibly disappointing in the sense that so much of it wasn't Kenobi, and what wasn't that, and when I say Kenobi, I mean like Kenobi, Leia, Anakin, / Vader. What wasn't that was so disappointing, didn't build the world, didn't help at all. Like trying to humanize the droid, that carrier droid or whatever it was. Yeah, the loader.
Yeah.
Like,
Failed.
It felt like they were... not to get political, but it felt like, I bet, is there some weird, social justice stance here? Like, things have sentience, blah, blah. We already knew R2-D2 and BB-8. We know they're sentient, right? We know their lives have meaning. There's a whole scene about C-3PO losing his memory.
Yeah, what are you trying to prove?
Right. Like, C-3PO loses his memory, and it's like a character death.
Yeah, everyone acts like he died.
Right. Like, you're preaching to the choir, so I don't know what you're getting at here. We knew this was a thing, so I don't know why that was so heavy. Anyway, my point is none of it built on the universe, didn't help. Where all the stuff with Leia, Kenobi, Vader, all of that did. So, that show, the highs were so high, but overall I'm going to give it a 5. That supercut, 9, maybe a 10.
Yeah. I was going to say...
I feel that a similar way.
Yeah.
I only really appreciate this show because it showed Vader in such a different light, in such a magnificent way, in a way that we haven't seen Vader, so ferocious, so angry, such a unstoppable force That's something that we haven't seen from Vader. We've had it implied in the original trilogy where he just grabs people and just strangles them, and no one can say no to him because he could destroy you in at any moment.
That's how he promotes a guy across 2 different stars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But other than that, he doesn't like lift anything. He doesn't like pull the ship like he doesn't rip apart.
Yeah.
You don't see his anger crack open the ground. You know, that kind of stuff. And this show showed us that.
Yeah.
But like you said, the other stuff surrounding it was so much shit and so much fluff that didn't need to be there. It kind of ruined it.
I'm just thinking about Supercut. I want to keep Reva fighting Vader just to show how strong he is. So I'm trying to think how much...
Unfortunately, it doesn't work. That's the problem.
Think how much of Reva we could keep. We need to play with that.
We'd have to keep
you can
some
keep
of
the first scene. You can keep the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
we'd have to
that lead him to Leia,
Yeah.
and her last scene's essentially where she fails to like get and don't show her killing the Grand Inquisitor either. Just get rid of that whole fucking plot.
Yeah, get rid of that.
But then you do lose the Vader fighting River, and that choreography is fucking sick. Where the wax on, wax off force shit was fucking awesome.
Oh,
It was
so
yeah.
good.
We'd have to
So you
keep
need
that
some
and
Reaver in there. You'd have to keep some Reaver in
the part
there.
where he talks with Obi-Wan. And
I guess you keep everything of Reaver from episode 1 and 2. Just get rid of... I just think you get rid of
the
episode 4,
parkour.
really, overall. There's,
Sorry?
Get rid of the parkour.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
She just needs
And get
to
rid
be,
of episode 4.
Yeah, get rid of episode 4. And we'll keep...
When they take Leia, don't need to hear about her thoughts and
Right,
reasonings.
we don't need any of that.
and
We'll
that.
keep
Yeah.
Kenobi speaking to her through the door.
Yeah. We don't need the Grand Inquisitor talking down to her.
We don't
like
need
she's
any.
a
We
piece
don't
of
need
trash
any of
or
the
whatever.
other Inquisitors
Yeah,
really.
they were
Although
pointless
saying
as
that,
well.
5th brother or whatever the Asian
Yeah.
dude,
Whatever.
I thought he had great presence,
Yeah.
but
But
we
they
just don't
you didn't
need
even
it.
come back. Like, nothing even
Right.
happened.
Yeah, we don't need it. There's another sister that is just
a lot
useless.
of the stuff at the Inquisitorius.
Oh, get rid of that whole base.
That whole
But
base
don't
can
delete
be
the
almost
episode.
can be just.
Well, that's
taken as
episode
well.
4. That's episode 4. That's what I'm
delete the
saying.
episode. We
Delete the
don't need it.
episode.
Just
So
gone.
the way you cut it is you don't show Reva taking Leia again at the end of episode 3. You just assume she got back.
Yeah.
You have the tank scene, and then he gets up, and then where's Leia? And then all of a sudden we skipped episode 5 where they're with the rebels.
Yeah.
They're with all the rebels,
Yeah.
and
That's so
Leia's
We can make
there.
it work.
And they
And
just
then we can
somehow
keep-
got to that planet,
and then we can
and
keep
then
that.
Vader shows up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then
kinda
Vader,
wanna
I don't know,
edit this.
finds him.
I think we
I
should.
kinda wanna
I think we
edit
should.
this.
One,
Where do we
'cause-
post it?
One, because the 3 of us will watch the shit out of it. We'll make a brand new channel. We'll tell everybody in the
And,
community.
and
to
rescore
recut
it. You need to rescore it with all
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars motifs and shit as well.
We'll recut it. We'll make a brand new channel because we love it.
Yeah.
We'll tell the whole community, go and watch it.
We'll get that shit monetized. We'll get.
We'll never get it
sponsor-
monetized. Or you do it
Anyway.
with all copyright, non-copyright music.
Non-copyright versions of Battle of
And
Heroes.
just like random sound effects as well. Just like wah wah wah.
Just Kmart versions of it.
Bomb. All right. Is there any more words you want to say before we move in to see what?
No.
Our,
Well,
our
what
bros
was
are
your
thinking about?
thoughts on the show overall? Because we gave ours.
As I said, I do appreciate this show because of the Vader stuff that was given in there. Overall, though, it was a bit disappointing, and there was a lot of times where I was waiting for something cool to happen, and then it was pretty much just the Vader scenes that I was
It's
interested
the show
in.
version of Elden Ring in it. I'm waiting too long to dodge.
Too
Something's going to come, and I'm waiting. Oh, there it is.
There we go. But I have to say, I am still left with the disappointment that I said that I don't have the feeling, the resolution that he got over what happened with Padme. I don't feel like it's gone. I don't feel like there's a reason or where it is. I didn't see that it was still in his head. I didn't see that he actually got over it or suffered even more because of it. And you'd have to imagine that he did suffer a lot more because of it, because now he has physical pain to go along with the emotional pain. And I wanted to see
That would
the
have to be a
crushing.
movie. It would have to be a
Yeah.
movie, because if you're going Joker, where it's just a really dark story of him just going deeper and deeper into darkness, you can't have a week-to-week episode version.
I
of that.
agree.
That's so fucked up.
It's just
It would
the wrong
need
way
to
to
be
do
a
it.
90-minute movie. It has to be.
Yeah.
I'm open to them doing it, but it has to be a movie, and they won't do it. They'll make a series, and it'll be fucking awkward waiting week to week for a
Yeah.
depressing show.
Well,
It's fucked.
the worst thing they'll do is they'll call it Darth Vader, and then it'll be about something fucking
Yeah,
else.
it'll be about one of the random
Inquisitors.
Inquisitors that you weren't even named or numbered.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us for this episode. Now
right.
let's kick it over to some of our bros.
It's funny, we were talking about Kenobi not being about Kenobi, and the first 40 minutes of this were nothing to do with Star Wars. we spent as much time talking about Top Gun.
We did waffle a little
We
bit.
did take a long time talking about Top Gun. Yeah.
I was gonna
We
kick
did.
it off with Mario's video. Have you guys got the link that I've sent you in the Discord chat?
Yeah. Am I
Free to
am
go.
I staying for this?
If
If
you
Or am I free
you
to-
like to, we're not gonna hold
Now
you
here's the
hostage.
thing. I would like to stay, but it's 11:30 at night, and I got
Ooh.
I mean, maybe just don't be a pussy.
so.
Innit? Try not to be a
Yeah,
pussy.
yeah. No,
you thought about
But
just,
we
you know,
do give
it's-
you
It's
permission
way past my bedtime.
As
It's way
the
past my bedtime.
flagship show,
And
of the
there's
FPN,
10
you may leave.
long comments and a 10-minute video. I just feel like, and
You're a
there'll be
bitch. We
discussions
get
from
just
it.
say
It'll be another hour and a half. I won't get to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
Someone's going to say a point that we just like skipped over and never actually mentioned, and we're going to
yeah.
go for 20 minutes.
Because there's more I want to say, but I'm going to be
Of course
yelling
there
at
is.
James on Sunday with the As Always podcast to put him in his place.
Excuse me, don't
course.
cross
He's-
promote. No,
You're
don't
gonna be
cross-promote. That wasn't part of the agreement.
educating James on this other
I can't
unnamed
wait
podcast.
I can't wait to listen to that
Yeah,
because
me
James
too.
is gonna get roasted. He's
And
gonna
the
get
problem
reamed.
and the problem is as well, like, he and I are gonna like mean the same thing, but I'm just okay with it. He's not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I agree. Like, this part isn't good, but this part is, and he's like,
No,
yeah, but
this
that
part's
part that you
fucking
think that's
shit.
good doesn't mean anything because that part's shit. I'm like, well, I can get over that part. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, it's
Like,
Star Wars,
that's
James.
it's
Have you
just gonna be
ever-
that.
Sonic
And
Frontiers.
you'd be like,
fucking
oh, that's such a
motherfucker.
lazy way to think about it.
Yeah.
Tell me how it's my fault. Then it's like, no one's saying that.
Fucking
People are just
hell,
saying that
James.
they're, you know.
Just promise me you
Yeah.
won't take it easy on him. Just really,
Yeah. Really
No,
lay
no,
into
no,
it.
lay
no,
into
no,
him.
no, no,
Really
no,
lay into
no,
it.
no. I'm gonna. My goal is to upset him.
Good.
That's
There we
my goal.
Good, 'cause
So I
that's
might
the
say
only reason
things
I
I don't
listen.
even because on this show, I'm going to be honest with my opinions about Obi-Wan. Like, there's a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
Now, let me just spoil you as always podcast a little bit. No one tell James.
Flawless.
I am going to
The
be
perfect
so
show,
on the
right?
dick of this show.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Good.
I'm gonna be
I want
so
Tyler to lead
on
out
the
with,
dick
like,
of this
James
show.
would be like, so Tyler, how did you feel about it? This show fucks so hard.
Impeccable.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
the best thing since sliced bread. I'll tell
James
you.
will never watch this.
Like-
So as long as everyone shuts the fuck up
I
until
thought
Sunday.
Top Gun Maverick was
Yeah.
good, but that's because I hadn't seen this episode. This.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That might be
Oh,
too
boy.
far because then
That
you'll know
is
it's bullshit.
too
I need to upset him.
Yeah, he'll know
Yeah, that's
you're
too
lying
far.
then.
They'll know I'm lying because the Top Gun Maverick's the greatest thing of all time, greatest
Yeah.
movie of all time.
true.
But I will say this is my favorite Star Wars piece of media.
Oh,
You know, things like that.
That
like
actually made me
Re-
just...
the Reva spin-off is like restored
Can't wait for it
my
to happen.
love of Star Wars. Yeah, like the fact that they're
Finally
continuing this, and I feel like
another
Reva's like the
worthwhile protagonist.
Reva's a continuation of what I
Rey
loved
we
about
never got.
Anakin. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
the Rey and Anakin we never got.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What happened if he
Oh,
didn't turn
no.
evil? This is that story.
No.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
pop
yeah,
a
yeah.
blood vessel.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna
And
be
I'll be like,
talking
you
and we'll
just.
see
I'm
one
sorry that
eye
you don't
fill with red
understand
and a trickle
characters.
of blood.
Yeah, and I'll just be like, you don't understand characters. Obviously, you don't get Star Wars.
You
don't-
don't.
like
you
that
don't
we do,
get
yeah.
Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
get Star
yeah.
Wars, and that we know. That we do know. I will say that exact thing in that exact way.
Yeah.
That will happen. That will
Please,
happen.
everybody, don't say anything. Don't
Please.
spoil it, please.
Keep
Just
secret,
let him
keep
have.
Yeah,
Let him
they
do
only
it.
have to wait. This comes on Saturday or Friday. They only have to wait like 2
Friday.
days. Shut
Yeah,
the
it
fuck.
comes
Shut
out
your,
Friday.
shut your fucking
2
mouth.
days. Come on,
Yeah,
2 days.
let's just shut the fucking
We
mouth.
beg you.
All right, that's cool.
All right, much
thanks
love.
for joining us.
All right,
man.
boys. I'm gonna
Love you.
head off because it's 11:40. Gotta get to bed. Love you, boys. Chat soon. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me on.
See you later, bro.
See you later, boys.
Later,
Bye.
bro.
Love you. Bye bye. All right. Let me
Right.
just quickly get him the link for that. I think he's got the link from the previous one anyway. But here we
What
go. Copy link. Sorry, yeah, we don't have to wear this
a
anymore.
good...
Woo, my ears are
discussion.
hot.
I always liked when... There is one thing, though. He gets so carried away when you're like, oh, I didn't think this was just... Whoa, 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 whoa. You know?
Wow.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. It's not about the Vader show. 'Cause that's the thing. He thought you were talking about the Vader show.
Yeah.
And what you were saying is I didn't feel that this part of Vader was explored
Yeah,
well enough.
just that bit, and I feel like we still haven't got that, and that's what I was thinking. That was
I'm kind of with Tyler,
all. Yeah.
where I feel sort of satisfied because the reason that I love Vader is his interactions with Luke, which we have in the original trilogy, and that relationship with Kenobi that was left unfinished. And so from that sense, I'm pretty satisfied. I do think a movie or like a 4 TV movie, 3 1-hour
Yeah.
episodes, but they're just basically a movie, but go up on Disney Plus of our Hayden Anakin Vader exploring that stuff. I think that would probably scratch an itch that
Yeah.
is there.
It's just left.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's watch Mario's video
shit.
now.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be Mario sent us in a video. We did try and get him on the episode because he is such a massive Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
But he couldn't make it because he sucks, and that's his only opportunity ever to be on the show. So get fucked. But yeah, he's written in with his thoughts. And we're going to listen to it right here. I'm going to pop it up on the screen as well so you guys can see it. And let's listen to it. Let me know when you're ready, and then we'll hit play together.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
Hello there, Eddie, Sheps, and everyone watching. It's me, your boy, Mario5380. And I'm here to talk about the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And let me tell you,
He's got
it
great
was...
posters.
Well, let me save my thoughts for a little bit. It's a shame I'm not able to join you guys in person. In person is I would have to go to
It would have been
your
cool,
stupid
Mario,
country.
but obviously
but I meant
a
like
Star
on the
Wars fan. I
call,
don't see any Star
joining
Wars
you guys for the whole
paraphernalia
podcast.
behind
But due to some time constraints and me working on a project at college, and
Lazy.
Eddie,
No dedication.
really busy with other stuff, and I'm sure Sheps is just very lazy, to be honest.
Oh,
but yeah,
shit,
unfortunately, I'm not able to
lazy,
join you guys in
yay.
person for the this
Great minds,
podcast. Hopefully, I will be able to join you guys in the future for maybe another Star Wars streaming show, or maybe MCU. Who knows?
You've ruined your one opportunity. It's gone.
Yeah,
That was it.
I will be joining you. So you better contact me when the time comes.
He's really letting it hang.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm here to talk about the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. In case you haven't seen my tweet review of the finale, which, by the way, in case people watching don't know, on my Twitter account, I post reviews of every single episode of every
He's
Star
pimping
Wars
his
show,
own shit.
of every
Now
single
it's just a-
show
now it's just
when
a
they come
promo
out,
section.
along with other stuff. And I
Follow his
make some banger
OnlyFans.
tweets, so make sure to follow me.
Follow his
@Mario5380.
OnlyFans. That's where his proper
Yeah, in
content
case you
is.
haven't seen my Twitter review yet, I thought the finale was amazing. Everything I wanted from this show, I got in about the first 2 episodes. Not everything, but like a few of the main things. But this finale gave me everything else I wanted. And I'm just gonna quickly go through it a little bit because I'm sure you guys have already kind of recapped the episode, so I won't go too long
That's what we do.
into the actual plot, but just mainly my thoughts. So going into the main big stuff, for example, the fight between Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan, I thought was done brilliantly. I do think that there was a concept art about the fight, and there was like a either a ship or a military base that was on fire. I thought it would have been way cooler in terms of like surroundings. But I thought the fight was done very well. It reminded me of Star Wars Rebels. It's like an animated show, which
Never
you
heard of it.
you peasants haven't watched because you're not real Star Wars fans like me, you know. But
I've
yeah,
seen
it really reminded me
everything
of a
that's
certain
important.
fight in that
Yeah,
show.
all the canon.
Especially near the end of that fight. Speaking of which, when Obi-Wan slashed Vader's mask and it showed Anakin, one thing I noticed was that it was his face was blue from the reflection of Obi-Wan's lightsaber. As soon as Anakin, or should I say Vader, says that he's not Obi-Wan's failure, that he actually, as in Vader killed Anakin, and that Anakin is no more. The reflection goes from blue to the red lightsaber of Vader, and it truly shows that there's no turning back. Not until Return of the Jedi, when Luke is all grown up and brings Anakin back to the light. But I thought that was a really nice way of kind of showing that. And I thought Ewan McGregor's acting in that scene was fantastic. Like, he's holding back tears because he realizes his brother is actually truly dead and he can't, go back. I thought it was truly fantastic, and I think they did a great job at giving us a very satisfying conclusion to both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. Their return to Star Wars, I thought they gave a great conclusion to that. It was great seeing them play these characters again. Yeah, I thought it was truly amazing to see. The main part of the episode being the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan is definitely the highlight of the episode. But I do have to say that this episode was the best one in the entire series. The whole stuff with Reva going after Luke and Uncle Owen, it was nice to see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru in action, because in the original trilogy we just see them being burned to crisp. We don't even see that; we just see their burnt corpses, not really doing anything. But here they have blasters and shit, and it was cool seeing them in action, ready to protect Luke from a Force wielder, and let alone a dark side Force wielder. So that was really cool to see. But there weren't really any stakes, because we know Owen, Beru, and Luke, they'll all be fine.
But maybe somebody
it was still nice to see, but it wasn't something grand. I liked that Reva saw herself in Luke at the end, and then later to Kenobi asked if she has become Vader. I thought that was really nice for her character. But yeah, other than that, the conclusion of the show was truly just like Ewan and Hayden's return. It was very satisfying. I found Obi-Wan saying goodbye to Leia to be done quite well, especially to know that in a few years' time she'll be contacting him during the events of A New Hope. Seeing Obi-Wan talk to Qui-Gon after so long was great, and seeing Liam Neeson return as Qui-Gon Jinn, it was truly insane. Speaking of, another big thing was Ian McDiarmid reprising the role of Emperor Palpatine when talking to Vader in the hologram. I did not see that coming, because when Vader, we see a silhouette, we see a hooded figure. So I just thought, is he talking to Reva, because she was also wearing a hood in the episode? Wouldn't make sense, but that was my first instinct.
I
then
we
see it's actually
face.
Palpatine.
I thought we wouldn't see
I was quite shocked. I love that they brought him back just for like a little hologram scene, and that even in such a small amount of time you can see Palpatine still manipulating Anakin, calling him friend, even though he knows that they're not. It's just it was really nicely done. Yeah, overall the whole episode, I think it truly, in one way, it shows that the show could have been a lot better, especially in terms of some of the writing. But I'm really grateful that we got such a strong finale to this show. I really like the show. Like I said, I do think it could have been better in some places. But it was just great seeing Ewan return as Obi-Wan and truly, give more to the role. Even though we saw him play Obi-Wan 3 times, just giving this new side of Obi-Wan, a damaged, a broken Obi-Wan, was truly amazing to see, especially when he leaves Vader behind the second time, just holding back tears. Was truly great to see. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I did. I'm curious to hear what you guys thought of it, alongside with the people of patreon.com/conversations and of the conversation Discord. I didn't look at any of them. I'm going into this Streamcast episode blind. So yeah, I'm really curious to hear what everyone has to say, if they enjoyed it as much as I did, if they also kind of think that the episode has some flaws.
I'm curious to hear Mario's thoughts
there are some flaws
on our ranking.
But overall, I found the episode to be good. Like I said, I love this episode. I hope next time, instead of a video, I can actually join you guys and be on the podcast again. Due to time constraints, unfortunately, we couldn't make that happen.
Look at this guy.
But I'm sure there will be more Star Wars shows,
instead of coming on our
more
podcast,
MCU shows. Who knows? Other shows, streaming shows. Who knows? There's enough opportunity for Mario 380 to be on this podcast. So it's like I said, it's gonna happen. Yeah, I'm gonna be on this podcast one way or
He's trying to Jedi mind trick us.
Yeah, he's trying to
But yeah, thanks again for letting me still be part of this podcast, the final podcast of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And yeah, like I said, it's me, your boy Mario 380, and may the Force be with you.
No, may the Force be with us.
Oh,
fucking hate him. Jesus Christ.
It's a good ending right there. Thank you, Mario, for writing in and recording that in your sister's bedroom. It's clearly all of her gamer memorabilia over there, not yours. You're not a real gamer. But thank you so much for writing in there.
He mentioned he had a tweet chain of like the episodes. I meant to find it, but then I found like the very first thing is him comparing screenshots from the Last of Us remake to the remaster, and I just went through all of those. There I was listening obviously the whole time, but I was just looking at those pictures in comparison. Who was that guy again?
That guy is he's a plumber. Italian plumber.
Cool.
He's as you can tell from the glasses, obviously, it's all that. But yeah, thank you so much, bro, for writing in. You're a legend. And yeah, we loved your video.
Let's kick it over to patreon.com/conversations
to the people that matter.
Priority comments.
Exactly. Kicking it off first of all with Gams Master, part 6. G'day, bros. I absolutely love this episode.
That's not Australian.
It's not Australian at all. An excellent way to finish the show. I'm pretty stoked that I called the finale last week. I'm not exactly sure how Reva got to Tatooine so fast when the rebels barely just left Jabim. It seems Obi-Wan's self-sacrifice to save the rebels was great. The fight scene with Vader was incredible. Obi-Wan doing the fighting stance was so cool, and a callback to their last duel was awesome. It was so cool to see Vader fight with such ferocity, such speed. It's starting to sound like Batman right now. His ferocity, his speed.
And luckily neither of these people kill anyone. No kill rules.
Exactly. No kill rules for each one of them is fine.
It's true. Anakin famous for his no kill rule.
Exactly.
I keep calling him Anakin. I mean Darth Vader all the time.
I know you mean. Like we've never seen before, Vader attempting to bury Kenobi was brutal. It was so amazing to see the Force used like it is in the games. It was so fucking awesome. Obi-Wan mustering the light side of the Force and thinking of people he loves was sick. Truly opening himself up to the power of the Force completely. Finally getting the best of the Vader with a barrage of boulders and destroying his suit in order to beat him was the exact cunning and brilliance he is known for. Hearing Hayden's voice mixed with Darth Vader's was so chilling and sad. The realization that his friend is truly dead from a certain point of view was heartbreaking. This battle, in my opinion, completely lived up to the hype. Reva's redemption was okay, I guess. I didn't like her character, but it certainly was. A letdown for the series. I don't really have much to say about this part in this episode or the series in whole. Just disappointing and a bit pointless. I'd watch a spin-off of her, but I'm not asking for one. No. Obi-Wan meeting Luke for the first time was nice, of course, because we got the hello there. My brother and I cheered at that point. I cheered as well.
Yeah.
He did it. He said the line. He said the line. Kenobi putting his trust in Leia to keep this little adventure of theirs a secret was a nice touch to their relationship and makes sense for the future movies. The Palpatine cameo was cool. It was a cool way of making sure that Vader leaves Kenobi alone until they meet again in A New Hope. So goddamn pleased with Qui-Gon cameo at the very end. It was exactly all it needed to be. Overall, this show was not perfect by any means. Nothing in Star Wars is. We said that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm so pleased with the way that the show turned out. The only thing in my eyes that was a letdown was Reva's subplot. I like her character, but in the end, she wasn't really necessary. I can happily rate this show 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, see, I feel like I rate the good stuff there with you. But the thing, and my beef with the Reva stuff is that Reva could have been a really cool character, and the actress is great, and she could have been done so well and wasn't. And it was just in there to make a Reva spin-off. And if they'd just put Reva in and made her cool, then we would have been asking for it.
I don't understand why they don't do it the other way around. Why they don't make a show, and then when they see someone completely latch on to one character, clearly they want more of this character. Yeah. Let's make a show of them. Instead, they go in beforehand with those ideas, and it never works out.
I hate it, but it is very much the Disney WB Marvel thing of and I hate to get political, but they made the decision that they wanted a female black lead. And so they were like, let's make that happen. And they manufacture it. And then that's why they tried so hard to make her cool, because and it did just fail. Whereas if you just make her a good villain, we'll ask for her.
Yeah, and then
we ask for Maul, we ask for Vader, and they don't try hard to make them cool. They just make them cool. They just be there and be ominous, and we love them for it. And that's why. And also, and this is one of the things that bugs me, is because they're doing it so they can show, look, we're not racist or else whatever, right? And then they don't have the courage to just make a good character, to let the character be there. It's weird, because it's like they don't trust Reva, not the actress. They don't trust Reva to be good enough on her own. So really, it's like a weird, like, racism of low expectations, and it's just like, just make her good. Bosk got 6 seconds, not even, I think it's less, of screen time, and he became like a fan favorite. Right? IG-88 as well. Just put cool stuff in and make them cool, and they can be evil, and she should have been evil, and she should have been less like turning to the light and more seeing that Kenobi was useful to her plans, and using him, or choosing to allow this thing to go on. And it bugs me, because she could have been genuinely really good, and I would have asked for a Reva show. And then instead you can just feel, it's like the bots, like that little droid thing, it's there to sell merch, and there's no getting around it.
So obvious, and it's on your face that you just can't turn a blind eye to it.
It's really upsetting. And also the actress, whose name I cannot remember,
Moses.
It's Moses something. Moses Ingram.
That's it. There you go. It's unfortunate for her, because she's just a casualty.
Well, now she's going to have to wonder if she would have got the show any other way, if she was just been given the show. Right? She like, no one is questioning that Ewan deserves this show. And I would hate to ever know that Moses Ingram ever thought, I didn't earn it, I don't deserve it. They just gave it to me because they tried to tick a box. And that's so unfortunate. That's the worst part, because no way it's ever going to be confirmed to her. It's just there's no way to know now. It's always going to be in the back of her mind. Right. Whereas if a Darth Maul show happens, you'll know it's Ray Park, right? Like, everybody will know. People wanted Darth Maul. Whoever ends up doing it, like, it's really unfair to her. And also the bits that she did well were so good, they were just shoehorned in. At the end of that supercut, you should show her getting up from the cave and wandering out. That's the end. That's where Reva. That's how Reva's arc goes. Corporal Dingleberry also writes into patreon.com/conversation. He says Stormtrooper Dingleberry. Stormtrooper, my apologies. That's right. Trooper Dingleberry. That's right. It says, very, very fantastic episode. Disney somehow made a finale that I wasn't extremely rushed. What a shocker. It's true, actually. They're usually quite rushed. They do. First off, I have to say, the music all throughout this episode was on point. Full-on Vader theme, Luke theme, and I don't know why, but man, when it played Leia's theme music, it genuinely made me almost cry. The Reva stuff was a little bit weird. Initially, I hated the idea of her turning good, but it wasn't actually as bad as I thought. However, it did still feel off in ways, and it made me think they're going to do a season 2 or just a full-on Reva show. That's what the idea is. That's what it is. Which I guess is cool, but kind of feels unnecessary. I feel the final battle was absolutely fantastic. It had some really heavy-hitting moments with both actors giving it their all. It made me so hyped for Obi-Wan and his iconic pose with the 2 fingers out in front of him. It was great. And him slicing the helmet in half to see what he did to Anakin was so good. The voice effect that gave Anakin in this scene was haunting, and I loved it. He finally got the closure he so desperately needed, and then I guess my friend is truly dead hit so hard. What a perfectly done scene. I enjoyed. My voice is starting to go. Can you hear? It's giving away. I enjoyed him getting to meet Luke's family and the cheesy and weird
as it was. I strangely found the hello there to be kind of endearing. Finally, we see Qui-Gon's cameo, which was short and simple, but really all we needed.
Yeah, we knew it was coming as well. No one was shocked.
Yeah, it didn't take over. It didn't overstay its welcome. Overall, the show exceeded my expectations. It had some really strange writing choices. Sometimes, and some of the scenes didn't look quite right, but I think the stuff that was really important worked exactly how it should have, and that's all that I can really ask for. Thank you so much, there, Trooper Dingleberry. Thank you so much.
Do you remember the first one we did with episodes 1 and 2 with Tyler? And I said I don't think we should see Luke again.
Yeah,
I really feel like that would have been the right call. You know, like we didn't need any of this whole stuff with Luke at the end. Just took away from the tension, and you know, it wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't it.
Yeah, I feel like we saw too much of him towards the end.
No.
It's all because of the stupid Reaver subplot.
Right.
If we removed her, then it would have been fine.
Right.
We wouldn't have seen.
And
him
also,
again.
I'm sure there'll be complaints of like, well, Luke's just like dumb and useless and stuff. Well, that's actually Luke Skywalker, bro.
That's
Like,
actually Luke Skywalker.
he's pretty other than like mechanically, and like as a pilot and stuff. He's kind of in a weird way a bit of a farm jock.
Yeah.
You know. And he's useless at everything else, and he's naive, and that's the Luke that we get to know. So I don't have any problems with that. I just think, also, it's like, some idiot's gonna say Leia was so amazing and Luke was so useless. It's blah blah blah. Like you just hate men and bigged up women. Like no, Leia's incredible, and when we meet her, she's this feisty, fiercely intelligent, person. Leia was fine, and Luke is a bit of a farm bumpkin. Because Owen kept him that way to keep him safe and to love him because he didn't have a son of his own.
To keep him like normal and keep him out of harm's way.
I don't have any problems with that. I just think we shouldn't have seen Luke.
Yeah. Let's kick over to a Discord.
That's
server.
right. Over on Discord, Diogo #the boys season 3 streamcast. What the hell's that?
What is that?
No, never heard.
No idea.
Super disappointing. Can't believe the Jedi and Sith didn't come together for a Forcegasm. What's the point of doing this show if you won't televise the strongest characters in the universe having an orgy? So, well, no, when you put it that way, at least Cal Kestis showed up to tell Obi-Wan that he's his only hope and handed him the Death Star plans, teasing the plot of Jedi Fallen Order 2.
We're going to get a Cal Kestis show.
We are.
If you heard. So that's just what we needed.
I wish, I said this as well. I stumbled on the idea. I was like, I bet there'll be a Cal Kestis cameo. At least that I would have been happy with, just to see him like walking through Mos Eisley. We don't need a show, man.
We need a whole Disney show dedicated to him.
Luckily, it won't have anything to do with him because he's the title character. If it's all about that witch from Dathomir, that show I'd watch.
There you go.
BS Bro #1 #HeroGasm Streamcast says, this week on Things I'm Watching instead of Kenobi, it's Trek. No, it's Umbrella Academy with its season 3 upload.
Is season 3 out?
Have you watched Umbrella Academy?
I watched season 1 and 2.
People are tweeting me daily now. Literally, it's day 5 until I tweeting Sheps.
You started it.
I didn't do shit.
You started it when you was tweeting Ghost of Tsushima devs.
I didn't make the show. You harassed the people that made the thing. Jesus. He says, one more thing. #HeroGasm releases on Friday. Don't know what this means. Guess we know what all the true gamers will be doing on Friday night. Not Eddie and Sheps, though. Unless.
Oh, the first episode is out. Okay.
Benny says, didn't hate the finale. It had some good cinematography and parts of the dialogue were pretty solid. But man, the fan service was incredibly forced. It was tragic. Vader and Obi-Wan starting off the duel by reciting old lines. I didn't mind it, but I can see why you might. I thought it was good. Also, don't think Disney knows how rocks work, because Vader dropped half a mountain on this guy and nothing happened. I feel like Kenobi had like a force bubble-ish around him, and it was losing until he thought about the people he needed to protect. That's how I headcanon that. In turn, Obi-Wan showered Vader with rocks, and he just shields himself with his arm. I mean, he's an android.
Exactly.
Or a robot or whatever. Oh yeah, obviously Obi-Wan should not have won this duel, but it was to be expected, so I don't mind him.
Nah, he was stronger. What are you talking about, man? You're like you didn't hate this finale, and then you're talking about how much you hated it.
Overall, quite disappointed with Obi-Wan. It added nothing of value to this universe, and watching a 6-episode show for 2 or 3 good moments was definitely not worth it for me. I definitely agree that there weren't enough good moments. Yes. I'm definitely there with you. Batfan257 says, another great episode. The Vader versus Obi-Wan rematch was just what I needed, with Obi-Wan and Vader having more of a back and forth. The cinematography was great, and they finally played the Imperial March music. I was having a hero-gasm throughout. What is this? I'm probably the boys thing.
What's the boys? I don't know.
I don't know. What are you talking about? Who's the boys? Why'd you bring that up?
I thought I heard something.
No. My only negative was Reva not being able to destroy Uncle Owen. We're meant to believe that she's a powerful Force user, but struggles against the farmer. And also it looked kind of goofy when the rocks were bouncing off Vader. Yeah, that did look goofy. The thing with Reva and... first of all, it's Reva and Beru. It's 2v1.
Exactly.
She is wounded. She just got beaten up by Vader.
He does,
travelled all the way to Tatooine.
A couple times, like, where he's clearly hurt.
Yeah, and also... We're told constantly that she's the least of the Inquisitors. So... whether that means in like standing like socially or if like she's in power, right? She's only a woman. Yeah. She gets paid 70.77 credits to their credit
to the full credit, full Imperial credit.
God. But like, we're constantly told she's the least of them, right?
Yeah.
So it could well be in power. She's injured, probably hasn't slept, has just been beaten up by Vader, has a hole through her, and also Uncle Owen. I think it's because, he's like just a farmer and like he's a tough guy and he's fighting for his family. Finn stood up to Kylo Ren similarly injured,
Yeah.
So I think there's some leeway here. But I do, I feel you. We should have just got rid of it. Overall, thank you, bro. I totally lost. There's only 3 paragraphs, so I lost it. Overall, great show, which capped off Obi-Wan's character perfectly and added to the original trilogy. 9 out of 10, much better than Clone Wars. Yeah. I assume that means the animated thing, the Clone Wars
everything's
series.
better than Clone Wars.
Yeah, who knows? Frick that show.
Animated, fam. Do you want me to read the next one?
Yeah, man, go for it.
BS Bro 2 says, wasn't that bad except Reva just being there to kill a kid for no reason, then going, am I just like him? Like, bitch, what? I like it. Vader versus Obi-Wan was kind of disappointing. What? I will do what I must. Then you will die. Were nice callbacks to Revenge of the Sith and Rebels. Never heard of Rebels, but whatever. But he's getting fucking destroyed by Obi-Wan, so it kind of beats the purpose of They randomly teleport and skip half the fight to fill in Reva's "I'ma kill this kid" arc, which let's be honest, no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. The reason why Anakin versus Obi-Wan will always be the best Star Wars duel. No major cuts. They were suddenly in a different location with 2 brothers fighting in a lava pit. Do you know, that's another thing. I did feel like they cut into that fight too much. They should have let it go out a little bit and continue.
And this is the thing, is that they swap it for like the Reva stuff, which is dumb for 2 reasons. 1, it's shit.
Yeah.
And 2, it's not a good pace break. The point is these cuts are supposed to be like breathers from this kind of energy, and we still have another Force user with a lightsaber. But what are they doing this time? Potentially, because we've seen her kill lots of people before. Maybe we know because we've seen the original movies. But if you didn't, maybe killing Luke's family and then going after Luke Skywalker, right, trying to murder a child. So it's not a very good pace break. Just get rid of it and spend more time. Give more of that budget and screen time to this. Yeah, it was jarring.
Very dumb. Could be so much better. Cooler than it was. Could be so much better. At least we got the helmet cut off and Vader saying he killed Anakin, which makes sense as we know Vader and Anakin are actually split personalities. Now that's been confirmed. And talking in Anakin /
Has that been
Darth
confirmed?
Vader. I don't think.
I thought that was just how us interpreting stuff. But.
Yeah. Darth Vader's voices were cool. And the lightsabers reflecting reflecting him in his face, I guess, being blue then turns red, and the soundtrack was mediocre, but adding the Imperial March to Vader afterwards, and the Force theme when Kenobi and Leia have that final talk fixed it. The soundtrack was better than mediocre.
I thought so as well.
Son of a bitch actually did the hello there. Oh my god, Qui-Gon Jinn. Overall, I give it a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Is that the episode or the show overall? Either
Probably
way.
the show. Yeah.
BS Bro #3. Hello there, and welcome back to Black Screen Bro #3 Streamcast review of Kenobi.
Hey, you got it this time. There we go.
God damn it. By the way, you should talk really fast to this review, as if I can read it faster than this. I'm writing it really fast because I want to watch Umbrella Academy, Sheps. By the way, frick Disney Plus for releasing Kenobi, Miss Marvel, and Doctor Strange on the same day as Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, the fucking shit right there.
Yeah. Ewan is the GOAT. I mean, he absolutely is. Absolute best. Legendary actor to be in Star Wars, including Watto.
Watto, that's right.
Qui-Gon. No Qui-Gon. Reuse dialogue for the win. This show is the best on Disney Plus, no contest. I'm really just jumping to this episode. You're jumping to this episode in this review, huh? Oh, I see what you mean. Oh shit, Obi-Wan is dead and buried. Not really too interested in this Owen Reaver thing. It's not going to have any major consequences. Yeah, that's true. Jesus Christ rises from the grave once more.
He does.
Jesus Christ throws rocks at Darth Vader is a sentence
Jesus.
I thought would never. What? Is a sentence I thought would never be thought of. But there we are. Okay. That's a splitting headache if I've ever seen one. Shame Vader didn't shout Kenobi as he was abandoned on the planet. Once more. Palpatine Pog. Can't wait for him to somehow return again. Frick the people who are bullying young Leia. This actress did a great job. Obi-Wan's new look is pretty nice. Hope he keeps it for season 2. He said the line. Hello there, Qui-Gon. Fuck yeah. What, 10th million out of 10 spectacular. I love this show. 10 more billion, yeah. Yeah, the actress for Leia did an incredible job, I thought, especially at her young age. She did really well.
Yeah, really fucking well.
Yeah.
That's a great actress. She's got a promising future.
I'm going to say it. The actor that did Luke, not at the same caliber, and he had like no lines.
They're like, oh, you can't do anything. Just stay here, kiddo. Stay here, kiddo. You got it.
Go and pretend to be pod racing on that thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Reese, not Reese, says, just want to clarify that I said episode 5 of Kenobi last time because I felt like I needed to specify that I wasn't talking about fricking Morbius or fricking Smallville or whatever the frick anyone else was talking about. Fricking frickheads.
He's really angry. He didn't even censor the I in those.
He didn't censor any of them.
Just as
Fucking
frick.
hell.
Like it's
Jesus
written out there.
Christ.
And some of those are capitalized, all caps. Ooh.
You know? The good. I love the Vader Kenobi duel. It was flashy, intense, and full of great dialogue between them two. Even I will do what I must wasn't too cringy. Everything I was hoping for. Reva's little redemption was okay, I guess. A bit sudden, but kind of believable. Obi-Wan's dialogue in the last couple of scenes was incredible. Where at the start he was haunted by Anakin and intended on training Luke. Now he's able to remember Anakin fondly and has decided to let Luke live his life until episode 4, of course. They've rounded off his arc nicely. The mid. It's great. Obi-Wan and his friends are crawling through space while Reva, in her half-dead state, has gained access to console commands and used forced set player location. She's hacking in the universe to casually hop over to Tatooine. Leia has a memento from the character we don't know and don't care about.
She was in 2 episodes.
She was
for
in 2
5
episodes.
minutes or something. She had like 12 lines of dialogue.
And she said, "May the Force be with you." So there's that.
That's true. She did say it.
If I hear "May the Force be with you" one more time, I will shit and fart and throw up. Yeah, I might go to a doctor if you do that. Why is Reva hunting Luke? She wants to kill a child all of a sudden? I don't get it.
It was a huge leap.
Oh, yeah. Reva knows where the son of Darth freaking Vader lives now. That seems problematic. You'd think Obi-Wan, his sworn protector or of the poor defenseless farmers looking after him, would be concerned about this. But nope, he's fine. The last scene with Owen and Luke was going so fucking well until he said the thing. Come on.
I didn't mind it personally.
Who's this? Reese, not Reese. Reese, yeah, you suck. You don't know what you're talking about. Can't believe they dick teased us with 30 seconds of Qui-Gon Jinn right at the end. But hey, more reason for them to make season 2. Yay! All in all, while Kenobi was definitely fun to watch, that's about the good thing I can say about it. These 6 episodes were mediocre at best and comically awful at worst. Such a shame.
Yeah.
That's what your mum says about your penis, bruv. Don't know why your mum's looking at it.
It's comically awful at best.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's wait out and see if we do that supercut, because I bet the supercut would change your mind.
That would be great.
He said, hello there!
Hello there!
Antijuice says, it was fine. Some cool moments with Obi-Wan and Vader, but the Reva stuff felt rushed and tacked on. I really don't think that they're setting up a second season. This show started as a movie, then turned into a limited series, but now it seems a season 2 is inevitable. Seeing the Emperor and Qui-Gon was cool, and some nice moments with Obi-Wan and Leia at the end of the story. Overall, a pretty mid-show, but with a couple of decent episodes at the end. See, I think
they just don't know how to end it.
Yeah, they didn't know how to end it. I feel like 2 things. One, about 70% of the show was mid, and the rest, which was all we were really there for, which was Obi-Wan and Vader, and then Leia, which we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
But then they hardly got the screen time they needed, really. And I also, really thinking about it again, I actually don't believe that any of these... I believe that when they started Kenobi, they knew they were making a Reva show, and they knew they were making a season 2. It doesn't...
I think when they started this whole idea that they've got now, maybe not right at the beginning when they first inception of stuff, but I think when they made this, they were like, we're gonna do something.
I think the season 1 started with the premise of make sure we can do a season 2. Maybe they didn't know they would do it, but they definitely said make sure we can do a season 2 and make sure there's a spin-off in there with Reva.
God knows what this season 2 is gonna be like. God knows. The only parts we wanted to see was them and Obi-Wan and Vader, and we can't have that again. So yeah.
I just unplugged my thing, but this is still okay, isn't it?
Yes.
Test.
Yes.
I was just thinking through my head, I was like, oh, this is getting in the way. Click.
Uh-oh.
But it's only for Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
Just had that panic moment.
So we'll see what happens then, and we'll see what happens then. Exactly, yeah, of course. We'll see what happens. Well, all good, mate, all good. I can hear it through that. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in for another episode of Streamcast.
Yeah,
thank
we
you
really
so much for your
appreciate
support and everything. Like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Like the video. We're all
2 hours in. Here we
yeah.
go, boys. Here we go. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, remember, for the first 4 episodes of The Boys Season 3.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we'll catch you guys all in the next one.
Yeah, buddy.
Cool. Thanks for joining, bro.
May the Force be with you. May the Force be with us.
May the Force be with us.